quality of the horse. And cheers, greet, salute Her Majesty's carriage as the band of the Blues and Royals, under the leadership of Major Brian Keeling, strikes up the national anthem.
Will be run on fresh ground today. Well, these are the four races we're covering on this first.
Guineas. They met again in the St. James's Palace Stakes. Kings Lake, remember, was disqualified after winning the Irish Guineas, but was then reinstated after an appeal. Seldom have passions run so high as they did before today's race. Sadly, there was a non-runner, a withdrawal before the race started, when Mattaboy was found to be running a temperature. Kings Lake was made favourite by the Irish at 6-4. Peter O'Sullivan picks up the story of the race.
They're all in store for the St. James's Palace Stakes. The white flag up under orders and away. And a quick bake by Great Substance. Great Substance going on from Belbaleed. And just in behind them, Robolino, and Belbaleed coming up now to dispute it with Robolino as Great Substance drops back to third. 4 is Tuagori Moo. Then comes King Lake and Shazavan and Prince Echo in another realm, quite closely grouped in behind the two leaders, Prince Bolide and Robolino. Past the 6 furlong mark. Prince Bolide on the inside of Robolino, Belbaleed on the inside of Robolino. Just in behind them come Shazavan, who's just moved into third now. Tuagori Moo is on the inside. King's Lake's between horses. Behind them come Great Substance, and then Prince Echo and another realm. As they race past the half-mile pole, Belbaleed on the inside of Robolino. Tuagori Moo is in third. King's Lake now 4 right upsides him, and then Shazavan. As they race round the home turn, Belbaleed on the inside of Robolino. Tuagori Moo with Shazavan on the outside of King's Lake, who's between he and Tuagori Moo. As they turn in for home now, and it's Belbaleed in the lead from Robolino. King's Lake, Shazavan, Tuagori Moo coming to challenge Belbaleed and take a factional advantage. And it's Tuagori Moo on the far side being challenged now by King's Lake, the 1-2 in the Irish Guineas. But on the far side, Tuagori Moo. In second place is King's Lake. And is Tuagori Moo going to avenge that steward's decision? It looks like it at the moment. Tuagori Moo from King's Lake. Pat Henry putting everything in, but Tuagori Moo is holding him as they race to the line. It's Tuagori Moo holding King's Lake. And at the line, Tuagori Moo just wins it from King's Lake. Third was Belbaleed. You should hear the applause. Here's the closing stages again with Julian Wilson.
Now what a terrific race this was. Belbaleed led into the straight, but look at the gap that comes for Greville Starkey for Tuagori Moo, which he whips through. It literally came from just at the right moment. Greville kicked for home and set up a winning advantage. Robolino's just there on his outside. Pat Edry was always tracking Greville, always just on his outside. He's had the run through on the outside and hasn't really lost any ground on that manoeuvre. And from now on, it's a head-to-head battle all the way. Greville's got first run, and he's never really looked like being beaten. And coming to the furlong, it looked as though he might go away and win by a length and a half. But to the great credit of the Irish-trained colt King's Lake, he never gave up battling for a moment. Greville's just pulled his whip through, but Pat Edry riding hard now on King's Lake. And at this point, I thought there'd be a length and a half between them. But this is where Pat gets this terrific run out of King's Lake. And those of us who thought that he might possibly not get the trip, well, how wrong we were. Because in the last furlong, if anything, it's Tuagori Moo who's showing signs of distress, whereas Pat's thrown everything in and got the response that he asked for from King's Lake. He's catching him, there's no doubt about it, all the way up to the line. But there's no doubt that at the line, Tuagori Moo has held on to win by perhaps a neck, with the third horse, as you can see, a long way back.
The 27 runners coming in. It'll be difficult to get them away evenly, and they jump off, and Mr. Jerry is the first to show with Anik and King's Chorus right up there, and Carrick Willie and Justin
Dalsan.
Understarters orders for the Queen Anne, and they're running. Barfavento, one of the first to show, with Belmont Bay and Sayer towards the right of the picture. Racing down now past the 7 furlong pole. Belmont Bay on the right of the picture, from Morrisher, Dalsan towards the outside, with Playboy Jubilee on the very far outside. And it's Belmont Bay on the near side from Morrisher, then Dalsan. Last Fandango just in behind Belmont Bay, with Barfavento also very close to the lead also. Coming down past the 5 furlong pole. Belmont Bay on the right of the picture from Morrisher. Dalsan poised towards the left on the outside. Last Fandango just in behind the leaders, Pat Edery. Barfavento not far behind him either. Slenderhagen making a little bit of ground now, but it's still Belmont Bay in the lead as they pass the half-mile pole in the Queen Anne Stakes. Belmont Bay on the right of the picture, being pressed all the time by Morrisher. Towards the outside, Dalsan, Playboy Jubilee, Last Fandango going well just in behind Belmont Bay as they race down towards the 2 furlong pole. Belmont Bay in the lead from Last Fandango. Morrisher towards the outside is Dalsan, running very strongly now, Walter Swinburne, but it's Belmont Bay still from Dalsan. Last Fandango, Slenderhagen is 4th. They're racing towards the furlong pole now, and it's Belmont Bay in the lead from Dalsan, under pressure. Last Fandango threatening inside the final furlong. Belmont Bay from Last Fandango and Dalsan. Slenderhagen over on the far side. Belmont Bay on the near side from Last Fandango as they race up towards the line. Belmont Bay being challenged by Last Fandango as they come to the line. It's just Belmont Bay the winner. Belmont Bay the winner from Last Fandango. A fight of a third between Slenderhagen and Dalsan. Let's review those closing stages as we await the outcome. Once again, now with Julian Wilson.
At this point, Dalsan loomed up on the outside and looked, well, I thought, looked likely to go and beat him, although here he comes under pressure from Walter Swinburne, and when he does so, he doesn't find much. Pat Edery's got no room at all behind the leader here. You can see he just can't get out. He's looking desperately for daylight. On the outside, Slenderhagen switched there to come with a storming run. The one dropping away on the outside is Playboy Jubilee. But now, Pat Edery is just starting to see his daylight as Walter Swinburne's mount just drops out and the gap appears for Pat to go through. But it's come too late. Lester looks over his shoulder to see Pat. He's got a length and a half to make up in the last 150 yards. And although Pat throws everything in, the lead that Lester's got on Belmont Bay, I think he's retained to the line. A terrific finish this between the former champion Lester and another former champion in Pat Edery. And Pat, getting the last ounce out of his horse, is closing the gap all the way to the line, and see how they're drawing clear of the 3rd and 4th.
Going straight as they jump this one. Slaney Idol, Team Gale on the inside. Towards the outside is Slaney with King's Chorus just in behind them. Inside, the first to show from Sea Chimes and Bonall and Dukedom. Then come Viel and Crackerval, Hartford going up on the outside, Cairn Rouge and finally Magisterial. And it's Premier Rose. From Sea Chimes in second, a gap of 3 then to Dukedom. Then comes Bonall and Hartford and Viel and Crackerval and Cairn Rouge and Magisterial as they pass the mile marker, with Premier Rose and Sea Chimes having opened up a gap of 5 to 6 lengths now over Dukedom in third. 4 is Hartford, then comes Bonall, then Viel, then Crackerval, Cairn Rouge, and finally Magisterial. They're really motoring these 2 leaders. Sea Chimes going on now from Premier Rose on the inside. Then comes Dukedom, behind Dukedom, Hartford, then Bonall, then Viel, then Crackerval, then Cairn Rouge, and finally Magisterial. They pass the 6 marker, and it's Sea Chimes in the lead from Premier Rose, little between the 2. Then comes Dukedom, then Hartford, then Bonall, then Cairn Rouge, making good swift progress now, relegating Viel. Then comes Crackerval and Magisterial. Racing towards the half-mile mark now in the Prince of Wales, and it's Premier Rose on the inside of Sea Chimes, then Dukedom, then Hartford, then Cairn Rouge. Behind Cairn Rouge is Bonall, and then comes Viel. Magisterial improving, and Crackerval being relegated to last. They're racing towards the home turn now. Premier Rose on the inside of Sea Chimes, then comes Dukedom, then Hartford, then Cairn Rouge, then Bonall and Viel, and then Magisterial and Crackerval into the straight, and it's Premier Rose with the advantage now over Sea Chimes in second. Dukedom is third, Hartford is 4, 5 5 closest, Cairn Rouge. Behind them come Bonald, then Crackerbell, Magisterial producing around towards the outside. Coming down to the 2 furlong pole, Sea Chimes, Premier Rose, hard fought coming there strongly with Cairn Rouge also, and Magisterial on the stand side. And Dukedom has burst through over on the far side, and hard fought now has taken it up. And it's hard fought now as they enter the final furlong from Magisterial on the near side. Then comes VL Lester Pickett, putting in a tremendous run on the near side. But it's hard fought in young Walter Swindon with Lester Pickett trying to get up on the near side, but hard fought's going to win it. At the line, hard fought is winning. VL is second and third, Crackerbell and 4 Magisterial.
So hard fought, the winner is...
And that's it.
What seems to be the runner-up, Daring Run and Ted Walsh get closer and closer.
Right back up there under orders, and they're away. And a fast break by Silly's Knight. Silly's Knight coming over towards the right of the picture and tacking right over towards the rails. Also running very fast is Skin Deep. And over on in the center of the course, Imperial Ace racing all by himself. Over on the far left, Tender Heart with Bruffing. And on the right of the picture, it's Silly's Knight being pressed by 7 Hearts. Just in behind them come Prince's Gate, and also running fast is Skin Deep on the near side. Imperial Ace isolated in the center, and over on the far side, Bruffing, Tender Heart, and Silver Season right up there. Coming down towards the 3 furlong pole, still Silly's Knight from Skin Deep, 7 Hearts. Silly Season right over on the far side. Baronet is just about 5th at the moment. Tucked in behind him is Teamwork going very strongly. Coming down towards the 2 furlong pole, still Silly's Knight in the lead. Being pressed by 7 Hearts. Just in behind them, Greenwood Star making significant progress, the grey, with Baronet also coming down now towards the furlong pole, and it's Greenwood Star coming to challenge Silly's Knight. Then comes Baronet racing into the closing stages, and Tony Murray goes to the front on the grey. Greenwood Star, but being pressed now by Teamwork, and it's Greenwood Star now from Teamwork as they race into the closing stages. Teamwork putting in a great one on the far side. Teamwork beginning to get up as they come to the line, and at the line it's a photo finish. Teamwork has just won it from Greenwood Star.
And Teamwork was the winner at 8-1. Greenwood Star second at 15-2. Prince's Gate third, 11-1. And Tower Joy fourth at 20-1.
The starters' orders. No, and it's Little Monk's Field. We'll see
Nassim breaks very fast.
Nassim from Happy Bride and Tolmy coming up to join Nassim on the inside, but Nassim with the advantage. Nassim now from Tolmy, then Happy Bride. Just behind Happy Bride is Salmina, and then comes Vocalist. Martinova, one of the back markers at the moment, and Nassim now opened up a gap of 2 lengths over Tolmy's second. Then comes Happy Bride, then Vocalist, and then Salmina. Just in behind them comes Lone Bidder. Behind Lone Bidder, Her Grace, and then Martinova as they race towards the half-mile pole. Nassim from Tolmy on the inside of Happy Bride. Then comes a Vocalist, and Her Grace on the outside has made good progress. Salmina between horses. Then comes Martinova, who's got plenty to do at the moment. They're racing towards the home turn in the Coronation Stakes, and it's still Nassim in the lead from Happy Bride. Tolmy going well on the inside. Then comes Her Grace, and then Salmina. But still Nassim. Happy Bride is second for Ireland. Then in third place comes Tolmy. Then on the outside, Her Grace making a run. Salmina still in close touch. Exclusively Raised making good progress into the straight. And Nassim in the lead still from Happy Bride in second. Then Tolmy over on the far rail. Just in behind Nassim towards the outside. Her Grace making a run now, but it's Nassim from Happy Bride. So racing towards the furlong pole. Nassim from Happy Bride, and Edward Hyde now pulling out Tolmy. And Tolmy now coming to challenge Nassim and Happy Bride, and coming there with a very smooth run, Edward Hyde. It's Nassim on the far side, Happy Bride and Tolmy still coming there strongly on the stand side, and Tolmy coming to take it up now as they race into the closing stages. It's Tolmy and Edward Hyde from Happy Bride and Nassim, and that's how they're going to finish at the line. Tolmy wins it from Happy Bride and Nassim. Exclusively Raised was fourth.
So we'll just hope for the best.
How would you compare it, in fact, from the day he won 12 months ago?
All
Dead or rather than really
installed,
soft.
jersey,
Yes.
under starters' orders, and they're away. fast break by Red Flash, the French challenger, towards the right of the picture. Raza Penang's up with him. Ganymede swerving over the far side and coming right over towards the stand side now. Madison Styles running very fast in the center. Raza Penang on the right of the picture, and over on the far left as we see them, it's Keep Your Money in the lead. Keep Your Money on the far side from Lady Lorelei right up with them, then Kinniger just in behind them, and on the near side it's Raza Penang from Red Flash, with running very fast among that group Madison Style. Just in behind Madison Style, Welsh Reel and Tellurano well in the picture also. Coming down now towards the 3 furlong pole, it's Raza Penang on the near side in the lead from Welsh Reel. Just in behind them, Steel Commander. Tellurano still making good ground. No Altos just in behind Raza Penang, and over on the far side Cutthroat is making good progress with Lady Lorelei right over on the far side, but on the near side it's Raza Penang in the lead. Raza Penang on the near side from Tellurano in the center. Cutthroat putting in a good run, so is Star Pastures. They're racing inside the final furlong now. Raza Penang on the near side, Star Pastures over on the far side. It's Raza Penang on the near side, striding away from him there, and it's going to be another one for Lester Piggott as they come up towards the line. Raza Penang wins the Jersey Stakes. Star Pastures is second, Novalto is third, Cutthroat is fourth. Halsbury second, Protection
winning last year's champion hurdle on the Great
and then
Minefield.
comes Orr,
Well, Desi,
and
you've ridden in the
Popsy's
first
Joy
race.
still making ground towards the outside, coming down to the 2 furlong pole now. Halsbury struck the front from Protection Racket and Orr, and Popsy's Joy coming now to challenge on the outside of Orr. Orr and Willie Carson have struck the front now for Ireland, being chased by Popsy's Joy, and it's Orr now from Popsy's Joy, then Protection Racket, and racing into the closing stages it's Orr from Protection Racket and Popsy's Joy. Orr is holding in Protection Racket, challenging on the far side. Popsy's Joy next, Krug putting in a good run, but Orr is going to win it, and at the line Orr is the winner. Protection Racket is second, Popsy's Joy third, just ahead of Krug. It's a photo for third place, in fact.
After halfway, the pace quickened up as Peter O'Sullivan.
Well, this race represents a terrific
Just past
personal.
the milepost, still Ayaban from Pragmatic, Shooter Line and Ardros. And Ardros going up on the outside of Shooter Line now to relegate the filly to 4th place at the moment. As they pass the 7 marker, Ayaban from Pragmatic, Ardros and Shooter Line. Past the 6 furlong pole, Ayaban from Pragmatic, Ardros going up on the outside. Shooter Line very, very close now to the other trio, racing towards the 5 furlong mark. Ayaban on the inside, Ardros on the far side, Pragmatic between horses, Shooter Line close in 4th as they race now to the 4 furlong pole, and Ardros quickens a little bit on the outside. Ayaban hanging on well, then Pragmatic, then Shooter Line. They're swinging into the home straight now in the Gold Cup. Ayaban on the inside of Ardros. A little peep over his left shoulder from Leicester to look for Willie Carson, and Willie is right on his heels. And it's Ardros now from Ayaban and Shooter Line as Pragmatic drops out of it, and they're racing towards the 2 furlong mark now. And it's Ardros with Shooter Line trying to get on terms. Leicester looks over his left shoulder again, sees the danger is coming from Willie, but it's Ardros from Shooter Line. Ayaban in 3rd and Pragmatic 4th, racing into the final furlong in the Gold Cup, and Ardros is stretching well, lengthening well, going away now from the filly Shooter Line. He's going to win it well, although she's challenging and putting in everything she can. Ardros is holding her very comfortably as they come to the line, and hard held Ardros wins the Gold Cup from Shooter Line 2nd. Ayaban is 3rd and Pragmatic is 4th.
Ardros, a really cosy winner for Lester Piggott at 100 to 30 on. 2nd, Shooter Line at 7 to 2, and 3rd, Ayaban at 50 to 1. I asked him how the ease of the success compared with his previous 9.
He's a very nice horse, and he only just does enough, he never does more than he has to, he'd never win by very far.
How well did the early pace suit you? They could have gone a bit faster for you, I'd have thought.
Yeah, right, and up the straight the first time, we were going about 5 miles an hour, I think.
Did you think about sort of chasing him up a bit earlier? Because you didn't really make a move till about the mile and a quarter, did you?
No, about 7 furlongs, and I just moved up to the lead at 7 out. And I just raced with him for a bit so that we went a bit faster, that was all.
About the 5, it seemed as though you're having a little trouble sort of shaking off air, Barn.
Yeah, I thought we were going better than me once.
Pragmatic's the first one to crack, and Pat's just kept within half a length of you there. A quick look over, and Willie's just starting to make a bit of a move. When did you think you'd really go for home?
Well, I just, when we straightened up, I just got hold of him a bit, and that was enough.
Well, this is where he shows his class. Was he feeling the ground at all, do you think?
Well, it's pretty hard today, you know. He wasn't really feeling it, but I think all the horses are just, you know, saving themselves a bit because they've got a bit rough there, you know.
Well, this is obviously the moment you knew that you got it won, because Willie's filly looked as though she's just galloping in the air a bit, and well, your horse must have given you a good feel now.
Oh, terrific! Yeah, you know, he's a lovely horse.
Well, you've ridden some very good horses to win this race, including Lamos and Sagara. How would you compare this one with the really good ones?
Well, Sagara was a great horse. You know, he was better than the Gold Cup horse. You know, but this compares, you know, favourably with any of them.
And could you see this horse going through all the Cup races?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. A bit of luck.
Lester Piggott.
Racing down towards the 5 furlong marker in the King about the 7 stakes, and it's Riberetto on the inside of Sunley Bills. These two have disputed it throughout so far. Then Baz Bombardier and Clear Verdict. Centurious is getting much closer to them now and moving smoothly. Behind him comes King's General and Admiral's Air. Racing towards the half-mile pole. And it's Riberetto being pressed now by Clear Verdict. Leicester coming to challenge on the outside on Clear Verdict. Riberetto on his inner. Then Centurious moving smoothly into third. Baz Bombardier is fourth. Racing into the home stretch now, and Clear Verdict takes a marginal advantage now over Riberetto, but Centurious still improving relentlessly behind him, coming to the 2 furlong pole. Lester Piggott on Clear Verdict, being pressed by young Walter Swinburne on Centurious, and Bastomi coming on the outside. Willie Carson behind them. Admiral's Air putting in a good run, but it's Clear Verdict being pressed by Bastomi and Centurious now, and Bastomi has taken it up on the near side of Centurious. Admiral's Air finishing well as they race into the closing stages. Is Bastomi and Centurious is little between the two. Then Admiral's Air racing up towards the line. Centurious is fighting back. Bastomi on the near side. Bastomi on the near side. Centurious on the far side. As they come to the line, it's a photo finish. Bastomi's just won it. From Centurious in second, and third was Admiral's Air. Fourth was Baz Bombardier.
The stewards' inquiry has been announced, and horses have gone a little bit
and under starters' orders, and they're running in the Hardwick, and Shaftesbury's the first to show. As they run down towards Swinley Bottom, Light Cavalry going up to join him. Castle Keepwell there on the far side of Mrs. Penny. Then comes Light Cavalry and Triumph and Nicholas Bill and Shining Finish, and finally the French challenger Lancastrian. And it's Light Cavalry and Lester Piggott who've gone on now. Light Cavalry from Shaftesbury, Triumph, Mrs. Penny, Shining Finish, Nicholas Bill, Castle Keep on the outside, and then Pellerin, and finally Lancastrian as they race down into Swinley Bottom. Light Cavalry in the lead. From Triumph and Shaftesbury and Shining Finish and Mrs. Penny and Castle Keep and Nicholas Bill and Pellerin and Lancastrian making a little bit of ground now towards the outside as they run down towards the mile pole. Light Cavalry in the lead. From Triumph in second. Third on the inside is Shaftesbury, very close. 4 is Shining Finish. Then Mrs. Penny and Castle Keep, and behind them Nicholas Bill and Pellerin and Lancastrian. Racing towards the 7 furlong pole now. Light Cavalry and Lester Piggott in the lead. From Shaftesbury on the inside of Triumph, and very close is Shining Finish. Just in behind them Mrs. Penny and Castle Keep, and then Nicholas Bill and Pellerin and Lancastrian. Racing towards the 6 furlong pole now. Light Cavalry being pressed by Shaftesbury. Shining Finish and Triumph very close to them. Then Mrs. Penny and Nicholas Bill. Castle Keep still well in touch. Pellerin's the back marker. They're racing past the 5 pole now, and Light Cavalry from Shaftesbury, Triumph, Nicholas Bill, the senior runner here, now in 4th place. Then Castle Keep going well. Mrs. Penny behind Mrs. Penny, Lancastrian being hustled along there by Willie Castle. Then Pellerin, and now Shining finishes the back marker. They're past the furlong pole, racing into the home stretch now in the Hardwick Stakes, and it's Light Cavalry still in the lead. Light Cavalry from Shaftesbury. Then Nicholas Bill still making ground on the inside. Triumph is losing ground. Trying to get on terms with them is Castle Keep. Not far behind them either is Mrs. Penny. They're racing towards the 2 furlong pole now, and it's still Light Cavalry Cavalry. Lester Piggott in the lead from Nicholas Bill, who's now gone second. Unleashing around towards the outside is Castle Keep. Racing down towards the furlong pole now. Pellerin is making good progress, but at the furlong pole it's still Light Cavalry in the lead from Pellerin, coming there strongly in the sheepskin noseband in second, and Light Cavalry is flat out, and Pellerin is now overtaking him. And as they race into the closing stages, Pellerin going on from Light Cavalry, Castle Keep and Lancastrian third and fourth. As they race up towards the line, Pellerin's going to win it well, and at the line Pellerin wins it. Light Cavalry is second, third is Lancastrian, and four Castle Keep, and then Nicholas Bill and Mrs. Penny in triumph.
Indeed.
And Stand On has broken very fast in the centre, run it well up there, and Jasmine Star. Valeriga also running fast, and Tina's Pet with Sharpo on the far side. And it's Stand On taking him along at a blistering pace from Jasmine Star, then Valeriga, then Swan Princess towards the right of the picture. But racing down past the 3 furlong pole, it's the grey Stand On in the lead from Jasmine Star, Sharpo, Swan Princess and Valeriga. Marwell is tracking Stand On in the lead from Sharpo on the far side. On the near side, it's Valeriga with Swan Princess. Marwell still tracking the grey Stand On, and Walter Swinburne coming to challenge Stand On now on Marwell as they race down to the furlong pole. It's Stand On the lead, with Marwell still progressing towards the near side. Stand On from Marwell, Coolin Jack over on the far side, but Marwell taking a factor advantage now. Granick is putting in a great challenge, but Marwell has got it sewn up as they race to the line. Marwell wins the King's Stand from Stand On. Third was Runnington, 4 Coolin Jack, and behind him came Sparkling Boy. Number 11, to a Goldie Moon. 20 left. Renewed cheers greet the outcome of the race as Andrew Winas embraces her fine coat. There's the delighted trainer, Guy.
And there was no better way than that to settle the score.
Royal colours out of Anaglog, who's by Will Summers. And Tommy Carberry, no stranger to the acclaim that will greet the winners of the 12th running at Cheltenham of the Arkle Challenge Trophy. The starting prices and the trailer dividend is fast.
First, Anaglog's Daughter, 9-4. Second, Corrib Chieftain, 7-1. And third, Netherton, 20-1. Jackpot number of the winner, 201.
1 Bird's Nest, Andy Turnell. 2 Broadleys, Richard Rowe. 4 Connaught Ranger, John Burke. 5 Monksfield, Desi Hughes. 6 Norfolk Dance, John Frankham. 7 Paiute, Martin Blackshaw. 8 Pollardstown, Philip Blacker. 10 Royal Boxer, Mike Williams. And 11 Sea Pigeon, John Joe O'Neill. Here's how they're betting on our way to join them with Richard Pitt.
Monksfield's price bearing out what Terry was just saying. Monksfield 11-10, Pollardstown 7-2, Sea Pigeon on 6-1, Bird's Nest and Connaught Ranger both 10s, Paiute 20-1, Broadleys and Norfolk Dance 25-1, 100-1 Royal Boxer.
And a packed crowd there around the parade ring now, looking at the dual champion, and Monksfield bidding to join that elite band of horses who have won 3 champion hurdles. A lot of people have tried to do it, but a lot of people have failed. Well, Monksfield had looked decidedly a shadow of former days earlier in the season. In fact, before Christmas, in fact, finished last in an amateur hurdle race on one occasion, last of 8. But he's come back. His trainer, Des McDonough, said that he would. He said he felt him coming back. He had a blood disorder. And although you might think that can be put right overnight, it can't. But anyway, Des McDonough was right. He was proved right because he ran so well in the Erin Foods hurdle. And Desi Hughes didn't punish him that day. If you'll remember seeing him in the champion hurdle last year, every time Desi asked him for anything, he gave it. So he's cherry ripe for the day. You may think that he looks a little bit fat there, but remember that he is an entire horse. He's destined for a career at stud when he finishes his racing. And they're a lot rounder bodied horses than geldings, these colts. So you can see a lot of condition on this fellow, but he's always like that. And he was out as usual on the track this morning doing his pre-champion hurdle gallop. But I think as we look at him now, sideways on, he's in the pink of condition. For Monksfield, full of game battling qualities, and this is something that we can't see when we're trying to buy horses as youngsters. Des McDonough bought this one very cheaply indeed for 710 guineas, well, or 740 guineas. I should think he'd like to buy another hatful at the same price. His owner, Dr. Michael Mangan, who works in Newfoundland, a great supporter of the game, and has refused all sorts of bids for this horse. Even before he ever started winning races, he refused quite a profit on the horse. Well, I think we're in for another thrilling race, and if he wins, they'll be able to hear the cheers over in Ireland. That's Monksfield, winner of the last 2 years of this race. Pollardstown, his nearest challenger in the betting. Then we see Sea Pigeon, number 11, last on the card, but that certainly isn't where he'll finish. Sea Pigeon, who hasn't run for almost 4 months now, but certainly his trainer, Peter Easterby, wouldn't run him unless he was thought able to do himself justice. Peter's already won this race with Saucy Kit back in 1967. Saucy Kit, who's now a very successful stallion with Roy Edwards, who was his jockey when he won the champion hurdle. Peter's also won it with Night Nurse in 76 and 77, and Sea Pigeon second the last 2 years. Well, if the Irish are going to raise the roof, if Monksfield wins, I think there'll be an army of supporters shouting for this fellow to win, for Pat Muldoon, who's a very sporting owner indeed. He's taken defeat very philosophically in the 2 years he's been beaten. But I think that things will be more in his favour this year, except for the fact that he's been off the course for so long. But if he is fit, he'll be given a good lead by both Pollardstown and Monksfield. I think he wants to come after the last. I think he's been coming too soon. He thought he'd won his race last year and then started to idle a bit. But he's got a lot of foot, and I'd like to see this one coming after the last hurdle, not before it. And Bird, better than that, I don't know. He is so full of himself. He's a little stallion. He's so proud. He knows he's on the ground where he's the reigning champion, and he's not going to give in without a struggle today. I think you're going to see one of the biggest receptions that Cheltenham has probably ever seen. And he's looking tighter all the time now. As he's getting excited, you can see that his tummy is actually tightening up. He certainly looked tubbier than that in the paddock, and I think it's just nerves now, the adrenaline flowing through his body. He really knows what he's here for. It's Little Monksfield, number 5. The Novice, 6-year-old. And just before we see them closer, we have some more betting for you.
Full show, Monksfield 11 to 10, Pollardstown 7 to 2, Sea Pigeon 6 to 1, Connaught Ranger now 11 to 1, Bird's Nest 12s, Paiute 20, Broadleys and Norfolk Dance 25 to 1, and Royal Boxer 100 to 1. And Monksfield has just gone 6 to 5.
And Monksfield 6 to 5. He was 9 to 4 favourite when he won last year. There he is, quite relaxed. He was so cocky as he was coming out of the paddock, thinking, I know where I am, I'm at Cheltenham. He's already been out here on this turf this morning having a pipe opener. Of course, colts are a lot stuffier in their wind than geldings, and they need, this little fella in particular needs an awful lot of work. And Des McDonough has come in for a lot of stick from people over the years, but he's come up with the results every time. Broadley's there very much on his toes. Martin Blackshaw pulling his goggles down on Paiute. They're coming in very shortly to join the starter, so over to Peter O'Sullivan.
Yes, Captain Smalley just walking across towards his rostrum now. The flag about to be raised, and there it goes. They're under orders for the champion hurdle, and they're running, and Paiute for France is the first to show. Paiute goes on from Pollardstown and Monksfield, and then Bird's Nest and Norfolk Dance, Connaught Ranger, Royal Boxer, and then Broadleys and Sea Pigeon as they come to the first of the 8 flights. And Paiute with a commanding lead as he comes to the first and jumps his first English hurdle in public quite well. He clipped the top but didn't lose any impetus whatsoever. Martin Blackshaw on Paiute in the lead from Monksfield and Pollardstown, then Bird's Nest and Royal Boxer and Norfolk Dance, and Broadleys, Connaught Ranger and Sea Pigeon, and not going a very fast pace at the moment. Monksfield taking quite a strong hold with Desi Hughes, and it's Paiute, Monksfield, little between the two. Then comes Pollardstown and Bird's Nest and Royal Boxer and Connaught Ranger and Norfolk Dance and Broadleys and Sea Pigeon as they come to the next. Paiute and Monksfield over it together from Pollardstown and Bird's Nest and Royal Boxer and Connaught Ranger and Norfolk Dance, Sea Pigeon and Broadleys as they swing left-handed, and Monksfield has taken a fractional advantage from Paiute, these two disputing it from Pollardstown on the inside of Bird's Nest, then Connaught Ranger, then comes Royal Boxer, Norfolk Dance, Broadleys, and finally Sea Pigeon as they race towards the top of this first hill. Paiute on the inside of Monksfield, Bird's Nest and Pollardstown next. Then comes Connaught Ranger, Royal Boxer, Norfolk Dance, Sea Pigeon, and finally Broadleys as they run downhill towards the third flight. Paiute for France from Monksfield, Pollardstown and Bird's Nest. Broadleys on the inside, Connaught Ranger towards the outer, then Norfolk Dance, Sea Pigeon and Royal Boxer. And a beautiful jump there by Sea Pigeon takes him much closer to the leaders, Paiute and Monksfield. Then Bird's Nest on the outside, Pollardstown. Then Sea Pigeon, Royal Boxer, Broadleys, Connaught Ranger and Norfolk Dance. Coming down to the fourth flight and to the halfway mark in the champion hurdle, and it's Paiute and Monksfield. Going to jump it pretty well together. Paiute and Monksfield. Monksfield on the outside of Paiute. Very close to them, Pollardstown and Bird's Nest, Broadleys, Royal Boxer, Connaught Ranger, Sea Pigeon and Norfolk Dance. Racing uphill now, and it's Paiute from Monksfield and Pollardstown, Bird's Nest, Connaught Ranger, Broadleys, Royal Boxer, Norfolk Dance and Sea Pigeon. As they race to the top of the hill, Monksfield takes a fractional lead from Paiute. Bird's Nest is very close, so is Connaught Ranger and Pollardstown. Then comes Sea Pigeon, behind Sea Pigeon, Royal Boxer, then Broadleys, and finally Norfolk Dance. They're racing downhill now with 3 flights left to jump, and it's Monksfield and Desi Hughes and Paiute and Martin Blackshaw from Bird's Nest. Connaught Ranger coming there, Pollardstown just in behind the leader. Sea Pigeon making good progress too as they come down to the third last. Monksfield, Bird's Nest, Connaught Ranger, Paiute losing ground, Pollardstown coming there, Sea Pigeon only just in behind the leaders, and it's Monksfield in the lead now from Pollardstown, Sea Pigeon just in behind them, Bird's Nest and Connaught Ranger very close, coming to the second last flight now in the champion hurdle, and it's Monksfield in the lead from Bird's Nest, Pollardstown, Connaught Ranger, and just in behind them Sea Pigeon over the second last. It was Monksfield who led. Monksfield in the lead from Pollardstown, Sea Pigeon coming there, then Bird's Nest, then comes Connaught Ranger and Royal Boxer, and rounding the home turn now in the champion hurdle, and it's Monksfield in the lead from Bird's Nest and Sea Pigeon. Monksfield, Sea Pigeon and Bird's Nest are the 3 principals as they come to the last. It's Monksfield who's going to touch down just in the lead from Sea Pigeon. Monksfield and Sea Pigeon, it's a repeat of last year. The same two fighting it out. Sea Pigeon coming there on the near side, and Sea Pigeon's going to avenge that defeat of last year. He's striding up to the line, the veteran 10-year-old. He's won it at last. Sea Pigeon wins the champion hurdle. Monksfield is beaten for the first time in 3 years. Bird's Nest is third. 4 is Royal Boxer. 5, 6 and 7 are Pollardstown, Connaught Ranger, Norfolk Dance, and then come Broadleys, and Paiute is last for France. And so the result of the 1980 Waterford Crystal Champion Hurdle. First, number 11, Sea Pigeon, owned by Mr. Pat Muldoon, trained by Peter Easterby and ridden by John Joe O'Neill. Second was number 5, Monksfield, owned by Dr. Michael Mangan, trained by Des McDonough and ridden by Desi Hughes. And third was number 1, Bird's Nest, owned by Mr. Ian Scott and Mr. Bob Turnell, trained by Bob Turnell and written by Andy Turnell. Fourth was number 10, Royal Boxer. So the veteran 10-year-old does it at last. He avenges his 2 previous defeats by Monksfield. He foils the champion's hat-trick bid. Here's how he did it as we see the closing stages again with Julian Wilson.
Well, how fascinating and almost unbelievable to see these 2 great horses coming to the last in the champion hurdle together for the 3rd year in succession. But this year it was different to last. Last year, Sea Pigeon cruised up to Monksfield, certainly, but on his inside. This time he was on his outside. John Joe didn't let go of his head as they came to the last. Monksfield's been asked by Desi Hughes just as he was last year, and just as last year, he's given all he's got. But this time, John Joe had more resources. He had more in hand on Sea Pigeon. He just held on a little bit longer. He didn't ask for his run going to the last. He asked for his run after he jumped the last, and he so quickly put a length, 2 lengths between himself and Monksfield that Monksfield never had a chance to play his key card, which was courage. Today it was class that won, the class of Sea Pigeon on ground marginally better than last year. Monksfield couldn't do his best on this slightly sticky ground, and Sea Pigeon at last, at the 3rd or 4th time of asking, wins the champion hurdle.
Yes, you're right, Julian, the 4th time of asking. 13-2, the winner. And what a thrill this for the former champion and champion-elect, John Joe O'Neill. He's ridden a peach of a race on him. Being congratulated there by John Oaksey. 7 lengths and 1.5 lengths. So the old veteran interrupts the Irish bonanza here after the visitors had scored in the first 2 races. What a fine race that horse ran, Royal Boxer. It was 4th. And there's the little champion, or ex-champion now himself, Monksfield, after running his usual gallant race. And don't forget Bird's Nest. So often the bridesmaid, but never quite good enough for this incomparable title event. A rarely notable training feat this by Peter Easterby. I saw him with Pat Muldoon up here at about 8 o'clock just before this morning, and he was shaking his head and saying, you know, he's really only 90% this horse. I've had a hell of a job to produce him at Cheltenham. He had an infection in a hoof, and it was a long time before he could get him back to work, and he really didn't think he'd done enough to get him right. And big and burly he looked too. But my goodness, how that class told. Pat Muldoon's last comment to me when we walked off the gallops this morning, well, if he doesn't win this afternoon, you win the Chester Cup anyway. Well, he might do that as well. So English roars this time, and doubtless the cheers swelled by many an Irishman for the final ultimate deserving champion. And cheers for Monkey too. And the starting prices as follows.
First, Sea Pigeon, 13-2. Second, Monksfield, 6-5 favourite. Third, Bird's Nest, 11-1. The jackpot number of the winner, 311. 311. And the final trial dividend, £1,505.79 for a 10-pence stake.
Well, a really amazing performance that by Sea Pigeon, the first horse since Hatton's Grace 29 years ago to win the champion hurdle at the age of 10, and I think he fooled most of us. Terry, I mean, did you in fact really think that it was on at any stage for him to win the race beforehand?
Not beforehand, no, but you must put it down to the trainer. What an amazing feat of training. Hadn't had a race since December, to come back and to beat Monksfield, and It is just some training performance. Brilliant.
He did something similar with Saucy Kit, didn't he?
I know. Yes, yes, he did. Absolutely
Two
true.
weeks beforehand, he wasn't going to run in the race.
That's right. And I was broke up and I should have ridden Saucy Kit, thanks to the memories.
But did you feel that Monksfield ran his race today?
Yes, he's still tough. He's still battled all the way. But for me, at the water, he was never really going. You know, Desi, he was sort of niggling at him, you know. And I think at that stage with his class, he would have liked to have been on the bridle there, having a little bit of a second wind, a little bit of a blow. But he never really got it, because the French horse kept going all the way into the top of the hill. And Desi, you know, if he was going on the bridle and he filled his bellows up, it would have helped him a lot. But then, you know, this old Sea Pigeon had been sat in behind, and John Joe had been riding the most superb race, and he waited and waited and waited.
Well, at the top of the hill, in fact, it looked a very open race indeed, didn't it? The French horse was there, Monksfield was with him, but there were 2 or 3 going really well behind, Bird's Nest and, of course, Sea Pigeon.
This is right. Bird's Nest is going terribly well, but...
That's him in 4th there.
That's right, in sort of the red cap. There's a French horse, the White Noseband on the right. You know, Monksfield, he takes it up here. Connaught Ranger in 3rd place, and he was going well here. Maybe he's seen a bit too much daylight for him, but now the pressure's really on. They've gone, as I said before, they've gone a good gallop. There's Monk, he really jumps that. But there's John Joe, he's in 5th place there, and he's still waiting. He's got a wall of horses in front of him. You can't really see him, but he's absolutely the breast girth on. And he's still waiting there. See, Andy,
only one horse is going as well, and that's Andy, isn't it? Bird's Nest.
I know, on Bird's Nest, of course. But he's looking about there, old Bird's Nest, and he's thinking of that hill. They're sort of Desi user. He kicks for home now, and I'm sure that little horse, his old ears are going, his Desi slapping him down his shoulder, hands and heels, and he's responding well to him. John Joe there, he's got 2 stone in him by the looks of it, more so than last year. And I'm sure he's thinking, but they both made dead right. They both absolutely fly the hurdle, pinged it. Now John Joe, now he's the first time he's let this horse run, and now he lengthened his stride up this hill, and he responded with such great gameness. No discard to the second horse, you know, and he can't do no more. But I think John Joe, he's waited longer on Sea Pigeon this year, you know, and last year he run before the hurdle and got there. But this year he waited until he jumped the last, then he used his turn of foot. But what a horse, 10 years old. Unbelievable.
And the other thing, of course, last year, if you remember, they all came down the stand side of the course, and he couldn't really sort of bury him, but there he's held him, he's had him absolutely covered to the last, hasn't he? You know, he's never seen daylight, really, till he's pulled him out just before the last.
This is right, never seen daylight. And this happens on the flat with him, because if he goes to the front too soon, when he's on the flat, when he's winning, and he goes to the front too soon, he usually runs out of petrol. And you've got to wait and wait, and what patience John Joe had. It was quite extraordinary.
I suppose another factor, of course, is the fact that this year the champion hurdle being run on the first day is probably being run on better or less cut-up ground than it has been for a number of years.
Well, it must be the right thing, really, you know. You want to see good horses, and you don't want to make excuses by saying they raced the day before and they've cut the ground up and it's heavy going. Like today, we've got the best of the going for good horses, and there's no excuse for the ground or anything. And it's fair for every horse in the race.
So, a good or a great champion day?
Well, it's great for McKees to be. It's great for John Joe and much more great for Sea Pigeon, because he surely deserved to win it. I'm sure he did.
Peter is to be, of course.
Peter is, yes. I always get mixed up with the brothers.
Well, Terry, thank you. And tremendous scenes of excitement in the unsaddling enclosure, where any moment the champion hurdle trophy will be presented to Pat Muldoon. Let's rejoin Peter O'Sullivan.
And so 1 year when all the Waterford Crystal doesn't have to be re-exported to Ireland, it'll be Scotland bound. What a great success Pat Muldoon has made of owning since he entered the game only a decade ago. Mrs. Paddy McGrath, the wife of the chairman of Waterford Crystal, to present the magnificent trophy. This is the 3rd race of the afternoon that Waterford Crystal sponsor, and of course there is also the fine trophy to be won by the winning jockey of the meeting, associated with the Ritz Trophy. To the left there, John Joe, who will will hardly need me to identify him for you, with the white-haired Pat Muldoon, looking very much neater than in the early hours this morning when we were up here in the cold. Receives the trophy from Mrs. Paddy McGrath. What a servant this horse has been to him. Won the Ebor, and of any other jockeys, I wonder, in history, won an Ebor and a champion hurdle, as John Joe O'Neill has done. And Peter Easterby receiving the applause due him for a fine training feat. With a horse who looked sure to be out of the running a few weeks ago. And John Joe O'Neill, after his first champion hurdle triumph, the record holder for the number of winners ridden in a season. And all set to become the first to achieve a century this season and to win the State Express Challenge trophy in the process. Pat obligingly holding his trophy for the photographers. The smiling Peter Easterby back in what is now becoming a familiar position to him at this great festival.
No.
And so to the Waterford Crystal Stayers Hurdle, run over 3 miles and a furlong, featuring another strong Irish challenge, six-handed in fact this time, headed by an Irish challenger, number 1 Bective Road, ridden by Joe Byrne, the Irish champion jockey. 2 is Bromley, ridden by Alan Flint. 3 Fort Knox, another Irish runner, Tommy McGibbon. 4 Islander from Scotland, Gordon Holmes. 5 John Cherry, Tommy Carmody. 6 Kelso Chance, Steve Charlton. John Cherry, incidentally, blinkered. 8 is Lawrence Rambler, another Irishman, Ronnie O'Leary. 9 Miss Key, Craig Smith. 10 Mount Rivers, another Irishman, Eddie O'Grady, trained, ridden by Tommy Ryan. 11 Owen Glynn, John Frankham. 12 Padsky, Colin Asprey. 14 Ross Duvin, Chris Canan, his first ride at the National Hunt Festival. 15 Silver Shadow, John Joe O'Neill, and this of course is stable companion of Sea Pigeon. 17 True or False, another Irishman, Tommy Canan. 18 Corbiere, Brown Smart. 19 Daring Rose, Andy Turnell. 20 Major Swallow, Mr. Oliver Sherwood. 21 Man on the Run, John Williams. And 22 yet another Irishman, Silent Member, trained by Pat Hughes and ridden by Tommy Carberry.
He was to win the race.
Yes, that's right, and even more so this year when he was knocked out of his work, yes.
Well, how serious was this setback?
Well, it was serious enough. He apparently stood on a stone, I was led to believe, but it turned out that he got some gravel in his foot, and try as we might, it wouldn't come out. Peter patiently treated him, poulticed him, and did everything he possibly could, but went off on holiday and said, I don't think you'll be there.
And, I mean, you must have virtually given up hope. I mean, up till almost 2 weeks ago.
Yes, very much so, and then nature took over, and out he popped, and from then on, he's a horse that doesn't take very much getting ready, and a clean-winded horse, and, well, you see the result today.
Before the race, did you talk seriously about different tactics to last year and even the year before?
No, not really. When you're dealing with professionals like Peter Easterby and John Joe, you leave it to them. I'm only the fellow that pays the bills.
And how worried were you about the rain?
Up to Hamilton to run in a very small race, Saints and Sinners Night, and I hope Stephen will ride him there.
Any more jumping this season for him?
Scottish champion hurdle, if we can manage it at all, yes.
And Peter was saying that you were talking about the Chester Cup already, which he has won before, hasn't he?
Well, he's never, mysteriously, he's never won anything 3 times. He's won 2 Usher Vox, 2 champion hurdles in Scotland. He's won 2 Chester Cups, 2 of this and 2 of the next thing, but he's never won anything 3 times. It'd be nice to win the Chester Cup for the 3rd time.
Well, with this horse, anything's possible.
Yes, indeed, and let's hope he goes on for a long time yet.
Well, Pat, many congratulations, and thank you. Pat Muldoon, and now back to the Waterford Crystal Stayers Hurdle, and as we rejoin Richard Pittman.
Yes, here back on the course itself.
First to show, over on the far side. True or false in the center. Islander right up with them, and Padsky. And it's Padsky, true or false, and Islander from Scotland. First horse I saw at work this morning just before 7 o'clock. He was the first horse out. Islander jumps it in the lead from Padsky and True or False, with Corbiere on the far side, then Man on the Run and Silent Member and Kelso Chant, and then Miss Key and Owen Glynn and Fort Fox. Mount Rivers is next, followed by Major Swallow on the inside, Silver Shadow, and then Daring Rose, and behind Daring Rose is Brumley with Lawrence Rambler, and then Ross Duvin, and then John Cherry, and finally Bective Road as they go right to the top of the hill here. Islander in the lead from True or False and Padsky, with on the inside Corbiere, then Man on the Run and Silent Member and Kelso Chant and Mount Rivers, and then Miss Key and Owen Glynn, and behind them Major Swallow and Fort Fox, Daring Rose and Lawrence Rambler, Silver Shadow and John Cherry and Ross Duvin, Brumley and Bective Road as the leaders come down to the second. Islander jumps it in the lead from in second place on the inside, True or False. Then comes Silent Member and Padsky and Corbiere, and Man on the Run on the inner, then Kelso Chant and Miss Key and Owen Glynn and Fort Fox as they come down to the third now. Islander racing a little bit wide of the others, with True or False on his inside as they come down to this flight. Then Padsky and Man on the Run jump it next, and Corbiere and Silent Member on the outside, Owen Glynn on the inner, and Kelso Chant and Miss Key. Then Major Swallow and Mount Rivers, and behind them Silver Shadow with Fort Fox and Lawrence Rambler, and behind them John Cherry. And then Brumley, behind Brumley is Ross Duvin. Then Daring Rose, and finally Bective Road, and this is the fourth. Islander jumps it in the lead from True or False. Very close they were together, those two. Then as they race up this hill, it's Man on the Run on the inside of Padsky, and then Silent Member, and then Owen Glynn and Kelso Chant and Miss Key, and then Mount Rivers and Major Swallow on the inside, and the grey Silver Shadow getting a little bit closer to them, running downhill now. True or False on the inside of Islander, and then Man on the Run. Just behind Man on the Run is Padsky, and then Silent Member as they run down this hill. Behind Silent Member is Silver Shadow with Miss Key right there, and Mount Rivers also, with Brumley tracking Mount Rivers as they come down to this flight. Islander over the fifth with True or False, Man on the Run, Silent Member, Kelso Chant, Mount Rivers, Miss Key, Owen Glynn, Major Swallow, Silver Shadow, pretty closely grouped. As they come to the sixth, which will be the second last on the next circuit, Islander lands in the lead from True or False and Silent Member and Padsky and Man on the Run and Kelso Chant, and Mount Rivers and Miss Key and Silver Shadow and Owen Glynn and Fort Fox and Lawrence Rambler and Brumley, then Bective Road and Ross Duvin and Daring Rose. At the next, Islander over the seventh from True or False and Silent Member, then Padsky, Man on the Run and Owen Glynn and Kelso Chant, and behind them there come Mount Rivers and Miss Key, and then Silver Shadow, and then Major Swallow. Fort Fox making a little ground on the inside there is John Cherry, and Lawrence Rambler. Daring Rose is still the back marker, and now it's True or False who's taken it up fractionally from Islander in second and Silent Member third, and fourth Padsky. Five just behind them come Kelso Chant, then Mount Rivers on the outside, then Owen Glynn and Corbiere, and Miss Key and Silver Shadow and Major Swallow and John Cherry, and behind them Brumley and Fort Fox and Lawrence Rambler and Bective Road and Ross Duvin, finally Daring Rose. And it's True or False now as they come down to number 8. True or False in the lead from Islander, Silent Member and Padsky and Owen Glynn, and behind them Kelso Chant, and then Miss Key and Corbiere and Mount Rivers on the outside. Silver Shadow the Grey still travelling very well just in behind the leaders, then John Cherry, then Ross Duvin has made a little bit of progress with Major Swallow and Lawrence Rambler. Man on the Run is losing ground, losing considerable ground now as they run down towards the ninth. Downhill, Islander has come right back into the lead here, and it's Islander now from Silent Member and True or False on the inside. Then Mount Rivers, who's getting very much close to them. Silver Shadow who's moved into 6th now, just ahead of Kelso Chant and Owen Glynn and Major Swallow, and then Miss Key. And then Lawrence Rambler and Corbiere and Padsky, who's lost a lot of ground. They've got 4 flights left to jump, and it's Silent Member who's taken it up now. Silent Member from Islander, Mount Rivers, and traveling smoothly on their heels, the Grey Silver Shadow. Then comes Major Swallow not far behind him, then Kelso Chant and Daring Rose, who's making swift progress from the rear of the field. As they reach the top of the hill, Silent Member's in the lead from Mount Rivers in 2nd and Islander 3rd. 4th is Silver Shadow, then come Daring Rose and Major Swallow very close to them. Corbiere is next, and then comes Lawrence Rambler, and still quite a lot in the race as they come down to the 3rd last. Silent Member in the lead, though, from Islander on the inside. Mount Rivers coming there strongly on the outside. Oliver Sherwood coming there on Major Swallow, and Daring Rose is also making progress, and old man John Cherry over on the far side is not out of it, and Silver Shadow is breathing down the necks of the leaders. And there it was Silent Member in the lead from Islander, Mount Rivers, Silver Shadow still coming there strongly, and then Major Swallow. They're coming down now to the 2nd last, and as they do so, it's Silent Member being pressed by Mount Rivers, then Major Swallow, and it looks as though Silver Shadow is going to be pulled up. She's lost her action altogether over the 2nd last. It was Mount Rivers and Silent Member. 1-2 for Ireland at the moment. Within 3rd place, Daring Rose, and then comes Islander for Scotland, then Major Swallow, and it's Mount Rivers hurdle from Silent Member in 2nd place, 3rd Daring Rose, 4 was Lawrence Rambler, and then Islander, behind them Corbiere, and then came Owen Glynn, and then Major Swallow, then Bective Road and Ross Duvan, Fort Fox, and behind him was Miss Key, and then Attar John Cherry. And
he'd drawn 3 or 4 lengths clear from the elbow, and he jumped the last door, good 5 lengths clear, and he met it absolutely right, and so that was the end of the battle for Silent Member. Islander had run a tremendous race up to the last, but he weakened. In the end, Daring Rose ran on to take 3rd place, but this horse, who finished behind Islander, in fact, when he ran in the long walk hurdle at Ascot last December, showing great improvement on that running, and coming out to run the race of his life, and staying on to win, very hard ridden by a decisive margin. Another 1-2 for Ireland, and the first of the meeting for Eddie O'Grady, but a decisive winner.
2nd, Silent Member, 13-2. 3rd, Daring Rose, 10-1. The jackpot number of the winner, 410. That's 410. Now the other results. The 2:15 at Cheltenham. First, number 31, Slaney Idol, 9-1. 2nd, number 11, Daring Run, 11-2. 3rd, number 25, Remezzo, 28-1. The win tote, 87 pence. The place is 24 pence, 20 pence, and £1.16. Computer straight forecast, £5.86. Dual forecast, £1.43. The 2:50, first, number 1, Anna Glog's Daughter, 9-4. 2nd, number 6, Corrib Chieftain, 7-1. 3rd, number 10, Netherton, 20-1. The win tote, 28 pence. The place is 15 pence, 18 pence, and 14 pence. Computer straight forecast, £1.73. Dual forecast, £1.04. The 3:30, first, number 11, Sea Pigeon, 13-2. 2nd, number 5, Monksfield, 6-5 favourite. 3rd, number 1, Bird's Nest, 11-1. The win tote, 76 pence. The place is 18 pence, 13 pence, and 23 pence. Computer straight forecast, £1.38. Dual forecast, 43 pence. And those first 3 results gave a total trial dividend of £1,505.79 for a 10 pence stake.
Successful attempt last year. You must have thought he'd never win the race.
Well, yes, I did. Coming to the last year, you know, I thought I must win now, you know. But he didn't really get the trip up the hill, never did, you know. And the ground was very, very bad last year. And I couldn't believe it when I see Monksfield keep poking his nose back at me and just touching us off, you know.
Well, today, how did the race go?
Ran super for me, everything went right. It didn't go very fast early on, and the ground was a lot better, and it was also 200 yards or so shorter. With a month ago, I didn't honestly think he was going to run, but when you've got a trainer like Mr. East to be behind you, you never worry. He doesn't run them unless they're right, you know. He's done a fantastic job on him.
And how much does this horse mean to you? Because he's also given you your most important win on the flat and the Ebor handicap.
That's right. Well, he's just absolutely fantastic. You know, he's a friend for life, you know. He's a great favourite, always has been, because he's a character at home. You know, at first he used to run away and all sorts of things, you know, but now he's fantastic, you know, and he's such a character. You've got to know him, really, to enjoy him so much.
I mean, he's almost a friend as well as a horse, is he?
Oh, without any doubt, yes.
And what sort of celebration for you tonight?
Well, I'll be having a quiet night tonight, unfortunately. Well, you know, I hope to have some good rides tomorrow and on Thursday, so I'll be behaving myself tonight. We'll have a good fun the weekend with a bit of luck.
And briefly, what chance of Jack of Trumps completing the big double for you, think, in the Gold Cup?
Well, it's very difficult to say. It's a very, very open race. Like stone walls, you know, so if anything happens to him, it's very, very open. I personally don't think he gets the trip, you know, but if the races run to suit me, I can get him settled early on. He's got as good a chance as any.
Well, John, many congratulations on a great win today. And indeed, in the big steeplechase...
It's 7-1 now. John Largenson 9-4. Fine Piper 7-1. Owen's Image on 8s. Clayside, Rising Falcon and Woodford Prince all 10-1. Shuneen and Clunaman and Rich D all 16-1. 20-1 bar these.
A good time to join Peter O'Sullivan.
Yes, Richard. Thank you. The white flag up. They're under orders, being called in. What looks like a first-timer. Yes, they're away. Shane Hill, in fact, the first to show. Shane Hill, as they make their way to the first of the 10 flights. Clunaman has gone up to be second. Then comes Bronco's Cousin on the far side. Shuneen on the near side, St. Taffy. Just in behind them comes Slaney, with Rising Falcon and 10-pointer and Celtic Rambler and Owen's Image. Wreckit is one of the back markers with Sea Otter and Mark's Birthday, and Shane Hill and Shuneen rather. Disputed now as they're right over the far side. Bronco's Cousin up there towards the outside. Then Clunaman with on the inner St. Taffy. Clayside not far behind the leaders. Shane Hill and Shuneen from Buchanan, who's gone up to join them. Just in behind them come Clunaman and St. Taffy. Bronco's Cousin and Slaney. Sea Otter is the back marker at the moment. And it's Shuneen as they swing left-handed with Shane Hill, Buchanan, Bronco's Cousin right up with them too. And the riders getting really mud splash now. Colours beginning to merge as they come down to the third flight now. Shane Hill over on the far right. Shuneen in the center of the hurdle. Bronco's Cousin right up with them. Then on the outside, Buchanan. Running down towards the fourth, Shane Hill, Shuneen and Buchanan, Bronco's Cousin, Clunaman just in behind them. Then Whitewall Stone. Behind Whitewall Stone is Woodland's Lad, Farmer, and the riders really mudcake now, with the exception of 2 or 3 of the leaders, including Shane Hill with a white face, is going to jump it over on the far side. Shuneen on the near side, Bronco's Cousin and Buchanan, who've been up there all the way. Then come Clunaman and Rising Falcon and Whitewall Stone and Woodland's Lad and Drumlargan. Behind Drumlargan is Clayside, and then Slaney on the inside and Master Socks and Wreckit. And behind them, General Carl and Celtic Rambler. Looking back to the rear, Rich D and Mark's Birthday are 2 of the back markers. Going out into the country now, sending a shower of mud and spray behind them, with on the near side Shane Hill, Shanoon on his far side. These 2 ahead of Bronco's Cousin. Then come Clunaman, then Whitewall Stone and St. Taffy and Drumlargan, and 10-pointer has made a bit of ground. Slaney is making ground too. Celtic Rambler also on the far side. Over the 5th, Shane Hill and Shanoon, with Bronco's Cousin on the outside. Right up with them is Clunaman also, Slaney just behind him, Drumlargan also in a good position, Whitewall Stone on the outside. Clayside's also making progress towards the outside. Shane Hill, Bronco's Cousin, Shanoon and Clunaman and Slaney here, disputing it as they come to this flight. Slaney on the far side, Shanoon, Clunaman, Bronco's Cousin, Drumlargan very close to them now. Farmer's not far behind the leaders. right over the far side now. Clunamon in the lead, Shuneen on the far side, on the near side Slaney, Bronco's Cousin, then Drumlargan, Whitewall, Stone and Clayside, and Farmer not far behind the leaders. And racing to the top of the hill, 4 to jump, Clunamon, Bronco's Cousin, Shuneen, Farmer, then comes Drumlargan, and then Rising Falcon and Owen's Image making good progress as they begin to run down the hill now. Clunamon on the inside, Bronco's Cousin and Shuneen ahead of Drumlargan, who's making progress. Farmer joins them right in the front rank. Drumlargan coming to challenge him on the far side as they come down towards the next flight. This is the third flight, and Drumlargan over on the far side comes smoothly to challenge Farmer. Then comes Clunamon on the inside, and it's Clunamon, Farmer and Drumlargan now as they come to the second last flight. Drumlargan, Farmer. Drumlargan landed fractionally in the lead there, Tommy Round, and it's Drumlargan now in the lead from Farmer in second. Clunamon is third as they round the home turn. It's Farmer for England on the far side, and on the near side it's Drumlargan for Ireland. Tommy Round trying to complete his second success of the meeting for Eddie O'Grady. Drumlargan going to land in the lead at the final flight. He lands in the lead, but he makes a terrible hash of it. Drumlargan makes a bad mistake at the last, and it's Farmer now over on the far side. Farmer on the far side, Drumlargan on the near side, and Drumlargan wavering right off a true line. He's coming back to challenge Farmer again, and as they race into the closing stages, it's Drumlargan who's going to win it as they come to the line. Drumlargan is going to win it from Farmer at the line. Drumlargan has won it, and Farmer is second, and Woodford Prince is third. So the results, Drumlargan the winner, Farmer second, Woodford Prince third. That's the result of the Sun Alliance Novices Hurdle, in which Drumlargan, the Irish back favourite, looked sure to have thrown it away when he made that mistake at the last. Then he veered right off course, but under very severe and hard driving, he finally won it. The result first, number 5, Drumlargan, owned by Mr. Michael Cuddy, trained by Eddie O'Grady and ridden by Tommy Ryan. Second was number 26, Farmer, owned by Mr. Bob Hawker, trained by him and ridden by Ted Waite. And third was number 20, Woodford Prince, owned by Mr. P.W. Harris and Mrs. P.W. Harris, trained by Peter Cundall and ridden by John Frankham. Fourth was number 1, Angels Green. Here's how they raced home. Here are the dramatic closing stages with Julian Wilson.
Well, Tommy Ryan certainly having an eventful meeting. He seemed to be hacking up coming to the last here, but the horse, just when he expected him to take off, put down, jumped the hurdle completely wrong. You can see he's now got 2 handfuls of reins there. He's just got his reins back there, gives his horse a slap, and the horse starts to run off as if to go off the chute. And there you can see he's just slapped him around the neck to try and get him running straight again. The horse is completely unbalanced. He changes his hands again on the horse, and now finally, although he's not in exactly the position he wanted to be, he's got his horse running straight and running for home. And from then on, Drumlargan's able to do it, and luckily he keeps running straight despite the rather untidy, shall we say, solicitations of his rider. But he's won at the line, and what's more, he's not going to lose it.
No danger tomorrow when the great feature races are, of course, the opening Daily Express Triumph Hurdle and the Tote Cheltenham Gold Cup. This is Farmer, made such a gallant effort to win it for England. Behind him is Mark's Birthday. Slaney in the hoop cap, and the winner with the hoop, Tommy Ryan. On this gelding by Twilight Alley, out of a Polly's Jet mare, Avro Jet. And so Drumlargan getting a great reception as the 4th Irish winner of the meeting, and the starting prices as follows.
First, Drumlagan, 5-2 favourite. Second, Farmer, 20-1. Third, Woodford Prince, 12-1.
Here. Lord Greystoke, trained by Gordon Richards at Penrith. Looks as if they're coming in. Good time to join Peter O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Richard. This is the 22nd running of the 2-mile champion chase, first under its new title, and they're running. And Young Arthur is the first to show. Young Arthur leads them into the first of the 11 fences, all safely over it. King Weasel just got a reminder from John Joe O'Neill there. He jumped it a little bit slovenly. So Young Arthur from Lord Greystoke, Another Dolly, and Chinrella, King Weasel, Dramatist, and Hilly Way. As they make their way towards the third, then it'll be a long run to the fourth with the open ditch up the hill having been omitted. So Young Arthur splashing through this rain-sodden ground in the lead from Another Dolly and Lord Greystoke and Chinrella, King Weasel, Dramatist, and the title holder Hilly Way. Young Arthur from Chinrella and Another Dolly, Lord Greystoke, another rather slow jump there by King Weasel. Then comes Dramatist and Hilly Way as they race uphill and leave the ditch on their right. Young Arthur from Chinrella, Lord Greystoke, Another Dolly, King Weasel, Dramatist on the inside, enjoys this soft ground, and behind him, Hilly Way. Now running down to another plain fence, the fourth before the water. Young Arthur, Chinrella, Lord Greystoke, Another Dolly, Dramatist, King Weasel, and Hilly Way. Now racing to the water, Young Arthur, who's already been third in the 2-mile champion chase, in the lead from Chinrella, Lord Greystoke, Another Dolly, King Weasel, Dramatist, and Hilly Way. Two more plain ones before the only ditch. The sixth, Young Arthur, Chinrella. Dramatist jumps well up there. Lord Greystoke right in contention. Another Dolly next, and then King Weasel and Hilly Way. Over the seventh, Lord Greystoke now. Chinrella going up on the outside. Young Arthur holding his place. Dramatist, Another Dolly, and King Weasel very close indeed as they come to the only ditch. 4 from home. Chinrella going up to join Young Arthur. Jumps it in the lead, in fact. Another Dolly, a bit of a mistake there, and racing to the top of the hill now. And it's Chinrella in the lead from King Weasel, who's gone second. Third is Young Arthur. Very closely grouped in behind, with Hilly Way making good progress towards the outside. This is Chinrella we're seeing in the lead from King Weasel, Young Arthur, and towards the left, still making ground, the hat-trick seeker, Hilly Way, as they come down to the third last fence now. Chinrella and Desi Hughes from King Weasel and Hilly Way. Chinrella lands in the lead, a mistake there by King Weasel. Hilly Way under pressure. Lord Greystoke trying to get back in the picture now, but Chinrella in the lead as they come to the second last in the Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother 2-mile champion chase. Chinrella lands in the lead. From in second place, Hilly Way. Then comes Lord Greystoke. Desi Hughes in the lead on this Irish trained favourite, the Mick O'Toole trained favourite. Chinrella, who's opening up now. A wide gap between himself and Hilly Way and Lord Greystoke, and looking as though he's only got to jump this final fence to win the first running of the Queen Elizabeth Queen Mother 2-mile champion chase. Chinrella, the winner of the Arkle in previous years, comes to jump it cleanly and well. A great reception already for Desi Hughes. He's got it well sewn up as he races up towards the line. Here's Chinrella defying the mud and winning the Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother 2-mile champion chase with the utmost ease. The rest struggling a long way behind him. He strides up to the line. line, wins it comfortably. It's going to be very close for the placings. King Weasel and another dolly involved in a close battle. King Weasel and another dolly in a photo for second and third place, with Hilly Way fourth this time, and then Lord Greystoke and Dramatist and Young Arthur. And so the result, as we look at the winner there on the far side, the result of the first running of the Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother Champion Chase. First, number 3, Chinrella, owned by Mrs. R. Eastwood, trained by Mick O'Toole, and ridden by Desi Hughes. And a photograph for second place, a photograph between King Weasel and another dolly, with Hilly Way, the deposed champion, there second from left, fourth. On his right is Lord Greystoke. Here's already a beginning for Desi Hughes and Chinrella. Desi in probably his last season's public riding, for outside stables anyway, as a new trainer now. Of course, the long-time partner, recent partner of Monksfield. A quick compensation to him for yesterday's defeat by Sea Pigeon, as Chinrella enters the winner's circle. And the starting prices and trial dividend as follows.
First, Chinrella, 15-8 favourite. Second, another dolly, 33-1. Third, King Weasel, 100-30. The jackpot number of the winner, 203. That's 203. With King Neptune, 10-1. Manton Castle gone out to 11-1. Cover Your Money gone to 12s with Score. And on 14-1, China William, Donison and 2 coppers. 16-1 bar these.
13 flights to be jumped in this Coral Golden Hurdle. Normandy Sign just running across the other runners as the judge called them in, and they're told to turn, and the starter rather tells them to come in again. And they're away, 1 or 2 facing the wrong direction as they do so, but they're fairly well grouped. With Normandy Sign, in fact, the first to show from the veteran Willie Wumpkins, King Neptune and Bridge Ash, and another Duke, the Irish challenger, coming up to dispute the lead now, in fact, with Normandy Sign. Another Duke, the sheepskin noseband towards the left of the picture as we see them. Normandy Sign, the sheepskin noseband towards the far side. Then Willie Wumpkins and Bridge Ash and King Neptune and Donison and Cover Your Money over on the far side. Then behind them come Score and Golden Lane, Liboy the back marker, as they go out into the country. Another Duke and Normandy Sign, disputing it ahead of Willie Wumpkins and Bridge Ash and King Neptune. Then Golden Lane, with on the inside of Golden Lane Donison, and then Score, and then Fisherman's Cot. Back marker Liboy. Normandy Sign on the inside. Willie Wumpkins in the center, another Duke on the outer. These 3 ahead of Bridge Ash. King Neptune, Grand Hussar has moved up, Cover Your Money, and then comes Donison. Behind Donison is Fisherman's Cot, with Golden Lane on the outside. All safely over the second. Liboy is still the back marker with Handsome Prince, and Nice to See You. And up front, another Duke and Willie Wumpkins and Normandy Sign, from Bridge Ash and King Neptune and Donison and Cover Your Money, and Grand Hussar and Fisherman's Cot and Flagstaff, and then Greenways. Golden Lane on the outside with Score, and then 2 coppers, and then comes Manton Castle, and then China William and Liboy and Nice to See You and Handsome Prince. The leaders jump the third now. Normandy Sign on the inside of Willie Wumpkins. Another Duke on the far outside, Bridge Ash and King Neptune towards the near rail. Then comes Donison and Fisherman's Cot and Cover Your Money. Behind them, Flagstaff and 2 coppers and Score, and China William. Normandy Sign on the inside of Willie Wumpkins as they come to the next flight. They land pretty well together from King Neptune 3rd and Bridge Ash 4. And then Grand Hussar, Lorna Vincent on the inner. Towards the outer is another Duke, John Cullinan. Just behind them come Donison, and then Golden Lane and Cover Your Money. And just in behind them, China William with 2 coppers, and then Flagstaff, and then Manton Castle and Handsome Prince and Libboy and Greenways and Nice to See You. Normandy Sign slipped there going down the hill. Still Willie Wumpkins in the lead from another Duke as they come down to the 5th. Bridge Ash on the inside. Fisherman's Cotteride, another Duke very nearly went there. John Cullinan has just got back into the plate, but a very nasty moment for the supporters of the only Irish runner in this Coral Golden Hurdle final. Still very much in contention, though, another Duke, as Willie Wumpkins, the veteran, comes to jump it with him. Willie Wumpkins and another Duke together from Fisherman's Cot on the inner, Golden Lane on the outer. Just behind them, King Neptune and Score, very closely grouped. Grand Hussar, Lorna Vincent still well in contention as the Mudcake 19-runner field face up to another complete circuit now. And it's Willie Wumpkins, another Duke, and Fisherman's Cot and Bridge Ash, Golden Lane and King Neptune and Grand Hussar. Then Donison and Score, Flagstaff, Cover Your Money, China William, behind them Manton Castle. And as they go out on this next circuit, Willie Wumpkins, Fisherman's Cot, Golden Lane and another Duke, the four leaders just ahead of King Neptune, and on the inside Grand Hussar. Then come Score and Bridge Ash and Donison and Handsome Prince and 2 coppers and Libboy and China William and Flagstaff and Cover Your Money and Manton Castle. And Greenway's the back marker now. So it's the old man, Willie Wumpkins, 12 years old, with Jim Wilson bidding for his second winner of the meeting and putting up 3-pound overweight, running down the hill in the lead from King Neptune and Grand Hussar and Fisherman's Cot. Then comes Golden Lane, then Bridge Ash and Cover Your Money on the inside, and Flagstaff. Another Duke is losing ground. Donison is next as they jump the 8th. And it's Willie Wumpkins clear of Golden Lane and King Neptune and Grand Hussar, Donison and Cover Your Money and Flagstaff and another Duke and Score and Manton Castle. Behind them Handsome Prince and 2 coppers and Bridge Ash and Normandy Sign. Libboy is now last. And this old Willie Wumpkins coming to the 9th, clear of King Neptune and Golden Lane. This is the 9th of the 13 flights in the Coral Golden Hurdle final. Willie Wumpkins is clear of King Neptune and Golden Lane. 2 coppers is making significant progress towards the outside. Handsome Prince getting in the picture too. Donison comes next, and then Score. Behind Score is Grand Hussar, and then Manton Castle is making a little bit of ground. But Willie Wumpkins is still clear of King Neptune with 4 to jump. 2 coppers has moved into 3rd. 4 and 5 are Handsome Prince and Golden Lane. 6 is Score. 7 is Manton Castle. 8 is Flagstaff, 9 is Donison, and 10 Grand Hussar losing ground, and 11 Greenways who's making ground as they race to the top of the hill. Still Willie Wumpkins from King Neptune. 2 coppers getting nearer. In 4th place is Handsome Prince, and 5 is Golden Lane. 6 and 7 are Flagstaff and Score, and 8 is Manton Castle. 9 Greenways under pressure. Then comes another Duke and Donison, and then Normandy Sign and Grand Hussar running down the hill. And still the veteran 12-year-old Willie Wumpkins and Jim Wilson in the lead from 2 coppers and King Neptune, and then Handsome Prince, and these 4 well clear of the remainder. Willie Wumpkins jumps it very boldly and cleanly. 2 coppers has now moved into 2nd, and it's Willie Wumpkins now from 2 coppers, King Neptune, Handsome Prince. They're coming to the second last flight now in this Coral Golden Hurdle final, and it's Willie Wumpkins being pressed by 2 coppers. Willie Wumpkins on the near side, 2 coppers on the far side. Willie jumps it easily the better. King Neptune's in 3rd, and Willie Wumpkins, a very popular horse, getting a great cheer from the crowd now as this veteran makes his way to the final flight with a 5 to 6 length advantage. Jim Wilson bidding for his second winner of the meeting. Willie Wumpkins is clear of 2 coppers and King Neptune. At the final flight now, Willie Wumpkins, a good 5 lengths clear, looking as though he's only got to jump it. Go on, Willie, the crowd shout. He jumps it well. Willie is about 4 lengths clear now of King Neptune, moving into second, 2 Coppers third, racing into the closing stages. Willie Wumpkins on the far side, King Neptune challenging on the near side. Willie Wumpkins being pressed now by King Neptune and 2 Coppers, but he's going to hold him, and Willie Wumpkins wins the Coral Golden Hurdle final. It's a very close thing for second between 2 Coppers and King Neptune. Willie Wumpkins the winner, and a photo possibly between King Neptune and 2 Coppers. And then behind them came Golden Lane and Manton Castle and Handsome Prince, and then Bridge Ash and Donison and Flagstaff and Normandy Sign and Greenways. Another Duke pulled up, Grand Hussar next, and then Score. And so the result: first number 15, Willie Wumpkins, owned by Mrs. Boy Pilkington, trained by her and ridden by Mr. Jim Wilson. Second, the judges called it, was number 2, King Neptune, owned by Mr. Jim Joel, trained by Bob Turnell and ridden by Ted Waite. And third was number 12, 2 Coppers, owned by Mr. B.P. Warburton, trained by Les Kennard and ridden by Mike Williams. Fourth was number 13, Golden Lane. So 2 Coppers, the third here, one of the latest to be supported with the sponsors. We reported earlier that he'd been back down to 14-1 from 20-1 with them. Jim Wilson returning to his second enthusiastic reception of the meeting, and the starting prices and trial a dividend as follows.
First, Willie Wumpkins, 10-1. Second, King Neptune, 11-1. Third, 2 Coppers, 16-1. And fourth, Golden Lane, 20-1. Clear Richard at 7-4, Little Owl 11-4, Pillar Bray and Henry Bishop 8-1, Romany Count 10-1, Light the Wad and Brave Air on 14s, Tarback and Laxon 16-1, 20-1 bar.
They're coming under orders, they're getting ready, time to join Peter O'Sullivan.
Yes, the 17 runners about to face the 17 fences. The white flag up there under starters orders. Little Owl has to be turned by John Joe O'Neill in the center of the lineup. A few appeals from the riders. Duke de Bilbeck turns, comes in again. Henry Bishop 12-1. Little Owl standing with his back to the tape at the moment. Like the Wad turning round over on the far side.
Go back.
Men like with his back to the tape. And Romany Count, this is Romany Count we're looking at.
We all take it. When you get those two out of the back tractor. Hold on, sir. I don't know.
Trevor Archer just giving John Joe a hand in the centre there on Little Owl. Turn him. Duke de Bilbeck being kept on the move. Turns to come in with them, and they're away. And all away. Men like over on the far side, Loving Words and Laser Bunny. They come to the first. Laser Bunny on the near side lands in the lead from Men Like. Not a very tidy jump there by the favourite Flame Gun, and now quite a long run to the second as they miss this ditch, and it's Laser Bunny from Men Like on the inner, and then Little Owl in third. Martinstown and Laxon and Mr. Boson on the inside, Tarbank, then Loving Words and Brown Loaf, then Pillar Bray and Romany Count, and then comes Flame Gun. And then Crowan Mountain on the inside. Behind him comes Brave Air. Behind Brave Air, Duke de Bilbeck and Henry Bishop. And on the inside, Light the Wad. Men Like and Laser Benny disputing it from Little Owl and Tarbank and Laxon and Mr. Boson. Loving Words and Martinstown. And Crowan Mountain and Pillar Bray. And Romany Count and then Flame Gun and Brown Loaf as they come to the next. Over the second, Men Like and Laser Benny. Jumped it together. They're all over it safely. Tarbank's next, and then Little Owl and Mr. Boson on the outside, and then comes Laxon and Loving Words, and then Romany Count, then Flame Gun and Pillar Bray, and then Martinstown and Crowan Mountain. Staked there by Pillar Bray, but all safely over the water. Men Like from Laser Bunny. Tarbank, Laxon, Mr. Boson, Little Owl, Romany Count on the outside. Martinstown jumped that last. Another plain one. Over the fifth this will be. Men Like from Laser Bunny and Tarbank and Laxon and Mr. Boson and Little Owl. And then Flame Gun, Romany Count. They're going a pretty good gallop, and then Henry Bishop and Pillabray and Lie the Wad behind. Lie the Wad comes Loving Words, and then Duke de Belbec, and then comes Henry Bishop behind him. Comes Crowan Mountain, and then Brown Loaf, and finally Martinstown. They're coming to the first ditch now, and it's Men Like in the lead. Men Like from Laser Benny, then Laxon on the far side, and Tarbank 4. Mr. Bosun 5, and Little Owl 6, and then Romany Count and Flame Gun and Henry Bishop. Then Light the Wad on the inner, and then comes Pillabray and Loving Words, and then Duke de Belbec. Brave Air comes next, and then Brown Loaf, and finally Martinstown as they run down the hill. Laser Benny disputing it now with Laxon and then Men Like, and behind them come Mr. Bosun, Tarbank on the inside, Light the Wad, Little Owl, and then Romany Count, and then Henry Bishop as they come down to the next fence, very closely grouped. This will be the 7th. Laser Benny, Men Like, and Laxon, very little between these three, just ahead of Mr. Bosun and Tarbank on the inside, all safely over that one. Laser Benny from Laxon and Men Like and Tarbank and Mr. Bosun, then Henry Bishop and Loving Words, Little Owl and Flame Gun and Romany Count, and then Pillabray and Duke de Belbec as they jump the 8th. And all safely over the 8th. Coming down to the next fence now. Men Like and Laser Benny from Tarbank and Mr. Bosun and Laxon. Then Little Owl and Romany Count and Light the Wad and Flame Gun and Henry Bishop. Then Pillabray, Loving Words and Duke de Belbec and Brave Air. Over the 9th, Laser Benny from Men Like and Tarbank and Mr. Bosun and Henry Bishop and Laxon and Little Owl and Flame Gun and Romany Count. Then Pillabray and Light the Wad, and behind them come Loving Words, and then Brave Air on the inside of Duke de Belbec, and then comes Brown Loaf and Martinstown, and Crowan Mountain looks as though he's going to be pulled up. So they miss this ditch and run a long run to the next, and still very closely grouped up front. Laser Benny and Men Like and Tarbank and Laxon and Mr. Bosun just ahead of Flame Gun and Little Owl, who are matching strides now, just in behind the leaders. Then Light the Wad, and then Henry Bishop. Behind Henry Bishop is Romany Count, and then Pillabray and Brave Air, and a gap to Duke de Belbec. Coming down to the 10th of the 17 fences in all. Laser Benny lands in the lead from Laxon. A mistake by Tarbank, and Little Owl has gone there and brought down Light the Wad. Little Owl a faller. He's up on his feet all right, so's Light the Wad. John Joe's up on his feet, so's Desi. Well, Desi Hughes hasn't risen yet, no. Over the water there, and Romany Count has made very good progress. Romany Count goes up on the inside of Laxon, then comes Henry Bishop, and then Flame Gun, who's in 4th now. Pillabray 5 on the outside as they jump the next. Laxon and Romany Count together. And Pillabray has gone there, and the field really being decimated now as Laxon and Romany Count come to this ahead of Flame Gun, who jumps it 3rd. In 4th is Brave Air, 5 is Laser Benny, 6 Tarbank. You can count the rest of them out of it now as they race towards the final ditch in the Sun Alliance chase. And it's Romany Count on the inside of Laxon with Flame Gun in 3rd now. Brave Air is 4. Behind Brave Air is Laser Benny, and then Tarbank. And over that one, a mistake by Flame Gun. Romany Count in the lead from Laxon in 2nd. Flame Gun 3rd, and Brave Air 4. At the top of the hill now with 3 fences left to jump in this Sun Alliance chase, and it's Romany Count from Laxon and Flame Gun as they run down this hill. Romany Count on the inside of Laxon. Flame Gun is 3rd, and Romany Air is 4th. Romany Count, Laxon, Flame Gun, and Brave Air. These 4 a long way clear of the remainder. Laxon lands in the lead from Romany Count, who nearly went. A mistake there also by Flame Gun, and Brave Air is gone. So it's Laxon now from Romany Count and Flame Gun as they race towards the second last in the Sun Alliance chase. And Laxon is a long way clear of Flame Gun, who's in 2nd, Romany Count 3rd. Over the second last, and Flame Gun's nearly gone, and Romany Count has gone. Romany Count a fall of the field, really decimated now, and Laxon being chased by a very tired Flame Gun as he comes to the final fence with just 1 fence between him and a short victory. Laxon a long way clear at the last fence in the Sun Alliance chase. He's just got to jump it to win it. Laxon well clear of Flame Gun, measures it, ear prick, jumps it well, Laxon a long way clear of Flame Gun, who's coming there to jump in. A very tired second. He's just over it. He's hobbled over it. This ground really taking its toll. He's going to stride up towards the line, probably to be second, but he's getting very tired. Here is the winner, Laxon. Laxon wins the Sun Alliance chase. Flame Gun, a very tired horse, is plodding up towards the line. Loving Words is chasing him now to try and get up and dispute second place, but he won't get there. Flame Gun deservedly wins second prize. Loving Words races up to the line to be third. Fourth will be Laser Benny, and they are the only finishers. The others pulled up. Those that haven't fallen have been pulled up. And so the 1, 2, 3 in the Sun Alliance chase. First, number 11, Laxon, owned by Mr. Bob Hawker, trained by him at nearby Chippenham and ridden by Steve Knight. Second was number 8, Flame Gun, owned by Mrs. Mary P. Kenny, trained by Eddie O'Grady and ridden by Tommy Rahn. And third was number 15, Loving Words, owned by Mr. A.V. Netley, trained by John Thorne and ridden by Sandy May. The turning...
And this was a case of the pace killing, I'm afraid. And Little Owl, well, he was just about 5th or 6th coming to this fence on the far side. But he was a clear faller. He was the first one that went. Hit the fence, there he is, and the horse that's gone behind him and seemed to fall independently, I thought, was Like the Wad. And good to see John Joe Neal, at least, getting back to his feet.
Success of the season. And mostly achieved on pretty testing ground. It's here, as I say, that he won the Fred Withington Patent Chase when he beat a Special Cargo, and then he won a Novice in February by 15 lengths from Royal Potion. Steve Knight on England's 5th winner of the meeting, so the scores, Ireland and England 5 each after 10 races, and the starting prices and afternoon's results as follows.
First, Laxon, 16 to 1. Second, Flame Gun, 15 to 8 favourite. Third, Loving Words, 50 to 1.
Help. And Midnight Corner's only going to jump it. He jumps it well and strides away from it to a great roar. Royal Frolic has fallen at the last, but as they come up towards the line, it's Midnight Court well clear. He wins the Piper Champagne Gold Cup. Midnight Court wins it. It's a photo between...
That was Midnight Court and Olive Jenkins' lucky year. But luck, fickle as ever, is no lady. And when she left, disaster struck. Not long after that great win, Rupert, as he's called by the family, developed heat in one of his forelegs, and the treatment eventually led to an operation. So not for one, but for 2 seasons, Olive has been without her best horse, while he recovers enjoying a well-earned sabbatical. Away from Fred Winter's training stables, he's living a more pampered life of leisure back home at Frensham, lovingly cared for by Olive herself, who's far more concerned with her horses than with the accounts. She leaves all that.
And the Daily Express Triumph Trial.
They've got a long run now to the final flight in this Daily Express Triumph Hurdle Trial, and it's Batchaker Hall making very good progress over on the far side. Ron Barry in the centre, it's Malchus, and here comes Tommy Carmody on the near side on Hill of Slane, and it's Hill of Slane and Batchaker Hall now. Ireland on the far side, England on the near side, and Batchaker Hall with the advantage as they come to the last. Is White Snip showing just in the lead. A good jump though by Hill of Slane. It's Batchaker Hall, Hill of Slane and Malchus as they race into the closing stages. Batchaker Hall now going away from Hill of Slane as they race up towards the line. Batchaker Hall striding away to win the Australia Express Triumph Hurdle Trial in very impressive style too. Batchaker Hall is the winner and Hill of Slane is second. The Cleaver is third for Malchus.
Organ Hurdle at Leopardstown.
They're turning to the second last furlong. 1 flight of pearls to jump. The favourite Taranaga on the outside. Duke of Alva in the centre and Ben on Moore on the inner. And it's Taranaga coming now in the lead, but fractionally in the lead to the final flight of pearls. And it's Taranaga, Ben on Moore, Duke of Alva. The rest aren't at the races, and here they come to the last. And Taranaga stands back, flips over it, and over he goes, and on he goes. And racing down now to the finish, it's Taranaga. The easy winner in second place is Ben on Moore. After Ben on Moore comes Duke of Alva.
This time in 3 months.
and Gleeson both 5 to 1. On 7 to 1, Glen Hawk, Hill of Slane and Batchacre Hall. Then a gap to Cranbourne Tower on 20 to 1, Jubilee Saint 22, 25 to 1 bar these.
In great form. I saw him coming in today and he was full of smiles. He said, oh, this is a good meeting and I think it'll get better for me. Well, Gleeson was most impressive, twice beating Hill of Slane. That was in the early part of the season, and then after this terrible setback, this illness, it was colic, and colic turns to twisted gut sometimes, and that really is the end. Well, this fellow, big, strong individual, came back fighting, and he ran second to Jubilee Saint at Haydock in the Victor Ladorum when really needing the race, and I would think certainly giving a great show for today. Gleeson, a very good horse indeed.
And the 26 runners for the 16th Daily Express Triumph Hurdle under orders and away, and Glen Hawk is the first to show. As they make their way towards the first of the 8 flights, it's Glen Hawk and Shaftesbury from Donegal Prince with Palace Dan up there. In the center of the flight, it's going to be Shaftesbury just going to land in the lead from Glen Hawk on the far side. Donegal Prince right up with them, and then comes Palace Dan and Shandir just behind him, and then Star Fen. Just in behind Star Fen is Herr Capitan, and then Hill of Slane and Cranbourne Tower right up with them. The back marker at the moment is Mr. Nile, and it's Glen Hawk now in the lead from Shaftesbury. In third is Donegal Prince, then comes Shandir. Behind Shandir is Gleeson, with over on the far side Cranbourne Tower, with Asmar right up with them too as they come down to the next flight. Over the second, Shaftesbury and Glen Hawk from Donegal Prince in third and Gleeson 4. Just behind Gleeson is Shandir. Then comes Herr Capitan and Asmar, and behind them Palace Dan. Behind Palace Dan is Chris, and then on the inside Cranbourne Tower. Then comes Toranaga, the main hope of Ireland. Behind Toranaga on the inside is Tumble Gold. Just behind Tumble Gold is Mount Harvard, and then Corker, and then comes Good Ruler and Ben Moore on the outside. Halin on the inner. Behind them come Batista. Behind Batista is Hill of Slane, who's got a lot to do at the moment. Then Jubilee Saint. Behind Jubilee Saint is Casanova Kid, Mr. Nile, and Scottish Sound in rear. And at the third, Glen Hawk and Shaftesbury together from Jubilee Saint. On the outside then comes Gleeson, on the inner is Shandir, then Cranbourne Tower, then Herr Capitan on the outside. Asmar comes next. Toranaga in the center of the group there, and didn't jump that terribly well, the fourth. And it's Glen Hawk and Shaftesbury from Donegal Prince on the outside, with Gleeson also. Cranbourne Tower is close to them. Shaftesbury and Gleeson together. Cranbourne Tower moving up on the inside. Gleeson on the outer. Donegal Prince comes next. Behind Donegal Prince is Mount Harvard. Racing right over the far side now, with only 3 flights left to jump, and Glen Hawk in the Daily Express colours in the lead. John Frankham from Shaftesbury, and Gleeson showing on the outside, John Joe O'Neill, as they jump the third last. And there it was Glen Hawk, Shaftesbury and Gleeson. Then comes Cranbourne Tower. Making ground towards the leaders is Batista. Just behind Batista, Toranaga's got quite a bit to do. Glen Hawk at the top of the hill in the lead, with 2 flights left to jump, but a long run to the line. Glen Hawk in the lead. Cranbourne Tower on the inside. Palace Dan right up there. And then on the outside, Gleeson. As they come down now towards the second last flight in the Daily Express Triumph Hurdle, it's Glen Hawk and John Frankham in the lead. From Gleeson over on the far side, Shaftesbury right up with them. Toranaga's coming there strongly on the far side. Cranbourne Tower on the inner. Batchacre Hall is coming there as well. And Bamp the Grey also. And as they jump that one, it was Batista on the inside who led from Toranaga and Bamp, and it's Batista now from Toranaga, Bamp, and then Cranbourne Tower in the royal colours. But it's Batista in the lead. Star Fen is now second. They've got a long run to the final flight. Batista and Star Fen. Batchacre Hall over on the far side. Halin is coming there strongly. Just in behind them, Cranbourne Tower and Mount Harvard. As they come to the final flight, Star Fen, the stable companion of Gleeson, just hits the front from Batista on the far side. Halin is third. 4 is Batchacre Hall, and 5 Mount Harvard. Star Fen in the lead from Batista as they come to the final flight. Star Fen lands in the lead. He's down. Starfen a faller. He's hampered Halin, and Batista striding away. It's Batista now as they race up towards the line from Halin and Mount Harvard. But Batista is weakening, and Mount Harvard is putting in a great run, and Hill of Slane is coming there strongly too. But it's Batista from Halin. Halin challenging Batista, 25 yards. Halin and Batista. Halin just gets there on the line in a photo. Halin from Batista. Hill of Slane is third. Halin just wins it in a photo, I would say, from Batista, with Hill of Slane third and Mount Harvard fourth. Then came Mr. Nyland, Pacheco Hall and Casanova. Lairden behind them was Tumble Gold. And looking right back down the field, Sir Chris is the last to finish. And so officially it's a photo finish at the end of the 16th running of the Daily Express Triumph Hurdle, with the numbers expected to be called. Number 19, Halin, ridden by Steve Jobar, and number 6, Batista, ridden by Joe Byrne, with number 21, Hill of Slane, third. But a photo between Halin and Batista, between England and Ireland this time. England represented by Halin, owned by Woodside Engineers, and Batista representing Ireland, trained by Noel Mead, owned by Mr. Pat Carolyn and ridden by Joe Byrne. Very close between these two. This is Halin we're seeing walking in here.
And this perhaps the most dramatic race of the festival so far. Starfen had just gone in front there, and you can see that he went in front of Batista as they raced past that last fence, and Batista had to be switched. But coming to the last, Tommy Carmody and Starfen were clear, but met it all wrong, put in an extra stride, ploughed through it, and Tommy Carmody mercifully thrown clear. And that left Batista clear, 3 or 4 lengths clear of Halin. But having got to the front, J.P. Pern's gone for his whip, and the horse on this very, very long run-in, he's got very, very tired indeed. Steve Jobar's just riding with hands on heels and smacking and flicking his horse with the whip, but as Batista, who's been in front some way before the last, before he's headed by Starfen, as the post gets closer, his stride shortens, and despite once again the rather untidy urgings of his rider, he's just perhaps lost it in the last few strides, and a terrific finish.
One of the best fields ever to line up for this juvenile hurdling classic. He's by High Line, immensely successful sire, had a great season with his representatives on the flat last season. It was sold out of Henry Candy's stable, this horse, for 14,000 guineas at the Newmarket Autumn Sales. Great boost for company ownership. Owned by Woodside Engineers, based in Wales, I believe. Here now the starting prices and the trial dividend.
First, Halin, 40-1. Second, Batista, 50-1. Third, Hill of Slane, 13-2. And if your trial, a bet's still running after that, you're looking good. After that first leg, it stands at £204, the dividend.
15 runners and riders from Peter O'Sullivan.
1 Approaching, ridden by Bob Davis. 3 Border Incident, John Frankham. 4 Chinrulla, Frank Berry. 5 Darmad Edge, Bill Smith. 8 Jack of Trumps, John Joe O'Neill. 9 Kaz, John Burke. 10 Kill Coleman, Tommy McGivern. 11 MacVidy, Paul Leach. 12 Master Smudge, Richard Hoare. 13 Narrabini, Richard Lindley. 15 Royal Mail, Philip Blacker. 16 Secret Progress, Ron Barry. 18 The Snipe, Anthony Webber. 19 The Vintner, Chris Grant. And 20 Tide Cottage, ridden by Tommy Carberry. Those are the 15 runners. Here's Richard Pittman.
Captain Dick Smalley calling them in, jockeys putting their goggles down, and Peter O'Sullivan putting his binoculars up, so time to go to Peter.
And the flag up raised for the start of the 53rd Gold Cup, and the jockey's told to go steady and to turn.
Turn around, yes. Walk him in.
Turn around and come in again. Walk him in, said the starter. 15 runners, just 1 short of the record field for this steeplechasing classic. A few appeals by the riders. Darmodage 9-4.
Right, come on then.
Jacket Trumps 9-2 in their running. And Tide Cottage is the first to show from Kaz. Tide Cottage from Kaz. Then comes Master Smudge and MacVitie and Nary Binney and the Vintner and approaching. And Royal Mail and the Snipe, and then Darmodage. And Jacket Trumps has nearly gone at the first. Very nearly gone at the first. He was 4 from the back and he hit it, belted it hard, and very nearly went. Tide Cottage clear of Kaz and Master Smudge and MacVitie and approaching, and then the Vintner, and then Nary Binney and Darmodage, and then comes Royal Mail. Behind them, the Snipe and Kill Coleman and Jacket Trumps and Chinrella behind Chinrella. Secret Progress and Border Incident. So Tide Cottage, some way clear at the moment from Kaz and Master Smudge and MacVitie, and then the Vintner and Nary Binney on the outside. Approaching on the inner and Royal Mail, and then Darmodage, and then comes the Snipe. Behind them, Kill Coleman, Jacket Trumps. And then Secret Progress, Border Incident, and Chinrella as they've jumped the third and coming down to the water. And Tide Cottage, I'm just estimating how far he is clear, about 12 to 15 lengths clear as he comes to the water. Tide Cottage, just about 15 lengths clear. Over the water from Kaz, then comes Master Smudge and approaching, and behind them Darmodage. Then the Vintner. This is the first ditch for the leader, Tide Cottage. He's over a long way clear of Kaz, Master Smudge, Darmodage on the outside. Then approaching and MacVitie, and then Nary Binney and the Vintner. And over the 6th, Tide Cottage. About 20 lengths clear now, Tide Cottage and Tommy Carberry. And Darmodage has now gone second just ahead of Kaz. Then comes Master Smudge and MacVitie and approaching as the second ditch this is. And Tide Cottage jumps it well, 25 lengths clear at least from Darmodage, who jumps it second. Kaz is next, then MacVitie, and then Master Smudge and approaching Royal Mail and Nary Binney, and over the 8th of the 22 fences in all. Tide Cottage with his immense lead. Over in second place, Darmodage, then Kaz, then comes Nary Binney and MacVitie, and then Master Smudge, and then approaching and Royal Mail, and behind them come the Vintner and then the Snipe. Behind the Snipe is Border Incident, and then Kill Coleman on the outside of Jack of Trumps, and Chinrella is the back marker. The remainder jumping the 9th, headed by Darmodage, with Kaz on his inside. Then comes MacVitie. Then towards the outer is Nary Binney, just in behind them Master Smudge. And now Tide Cottage coming to the next. Over the 10th, a long, long way clear. Coming to the 10th now. Darmodage jumps it from Kaz. They're all safely over it. Behind Kaz is Nary Binney. Behind Nary Binney, Royal Mail, MacVitie well there, and then approaching, and then Master Smudge. They are now rounding what will be the home turn on the next circuit. And at this point they'll have 2 fences to jump next time. But 2 more plain ones now for Tide Cottage, who's a good 15 to 20 lengths clear of Darmodage. Let's see him jump this one. Tide Cottage jumps it a long way clear. Now Darmodage coming to jump it next. Then comes Kaz and MacVitie and Master Smudge, and approaching and Royal Mail and Nary Binney, and Border Incident has made ground. So's Jack of Trumps. Then comes Kill Coleman. Over the 12th, that was Tide Cottage. Now Darmodage. Now Kaz and MacVitie, and approaching and Royal Mail and Border Incident, and Jack of Trumps and Master Smudge and Nary Binney, and behind them come Kill Coleman, the Snipe, and Chinrella. Behind Chinrella is the Vintner, and then comes Secret Progress. And that's the order in the Gold Cup as they go out into the country for the final time. Tide Cottage, about 10 lengths clear now of Darmodage in second. MacVitie and Kaz are next, then Royal Mail, then on the inside approaching, then Border Incident, and then comes Jack of Trumps and Master Smudge, then Chinrella and Nary Binney, and the Snipe. Behind the Snipe, the Vintner, Secret Progress, and Kill Coleman are now coming to number 13. Tide Cottage over, a long way clear of Darmodage, MacVitie, Royal Mail, Kaz approaching. Border Incident, Jack of Trumps, behind Jack of Trumps, Master Smudge, and then Chinrella, who's making a little bit of progress, coming down to the water now for, of course, the final time. Tide Cottage jumps it a long way clear of Darmodage in second, Royal Mail and MacVitie third and fourth, 5 Border Incident, 6 and 7 are approaching, and Jack of Trumps, and then comes Kaz, then Chinrella making a little bit of ground over the third ditch. Tide Cottage still a long way clear of Darmodage. MacVitie on the inner, Royal Mail towards the outer, approaching is next, and then comes Border Incident and Jack of Trumps over the next, and it's Tide Cottage a long way clear of in second place Diamond Edge, third McVitie, 4 is Royal Mail, 5 is Border Incident, 6 and 7 are approaching and Jack of Trumps, and then comes Chinralla. This is the final ditch, 6 from home in the Gold Cup, and it's still Tide Cottage, about 8 lengths clear. Diamond Edge jumps it next. Border Incident's a faller there. Border Incident has gone, and at the top of the hill, it's Tide Cottage still from Diamond Edge in second. Royal Mail, Old McVitie, just behind McVitie is Jack of Trumps, and he's gone there. Jack of Trumps a faller at the top of the hill. And as they run down the hill now, with 4 left to jump, it's Tide Cottage from Diamond Edge, approaching, making significant progress. Old McVitie is in 4th place. Chinralla is in 5th. Coming to the fence now at the top of the hill. Tide Cottage and approaching. Tide Cottage approaching and Diamond Edge and then McVitie. So it's Tide Cottage being pressed now by approaching Tommy Carberry and Bob Davis. Diamond Edge and McVitie are 3rd and 4th as they come down to the 3rd last fence in the Gold Cup. Tide Cottage over in the lead from approaching 2nd. McVitie, then Diamond Edge, who made a mistake there. Then comes the Snipe, and then Master Smudge, and then Chinralla. They're racing towards the home turn now, and it's Tide Cottage who's made all the running so far, being pressed by approaching. McVitie is 3rd, Diamond Edge is 4th. Coming down to the 2nd last fence now. Tide Cottage, who fell at the last fence last year when looking to have it won, is coming to the 2nd last now, pressed by approaching, and old McVitie running the race of his life. But it's Tide Cottage at the 2nd last. He lands in the lead from McVitie and approaching 2nd and 3rd. Then comes Master Smudge and the Snipe, and surely he's only got to jump it this time, Tide Cottage. This was the fence that he was undoing last year. Will he jump it this time? He jumps it beautifully. He gets a great reception from the crowd here. It's Tide Cottage from approaching and McVitie and Master Smudge. And racing up the hill, Tide Cottage making no mistake this time. Tommy Carberry winning the Gold Cup for the 4th time in his career. Master Smudge putting in a great finish to be 2nd. But at the line, Tide Cottage wins it. Master Smudge is 2nd. Old McVitie is just 3rd ahead of approaching. And then came Chinralla, and behind Chinralla the Snipe. And those are the only finishers in the Gold Cup, of which the result is first, number 20, Tide Cottage, owned by Mr. Stanley Robinson, trained by Dan Moore and ridden by Tommy Carberry. Second was number 12, Master Smudge, owned by Mr. Arthur Barrow, trained by him and ridden by Richard Hoare. And third was number 11, McVitie, owned by Miss Pam Neal, trained by her and ridden by Paul Leach. Fourth was number 1, Approaching. So what a great triumph for Dan Moore. That's his 3rd Gold Cup. And for Tommy Carberry, this is his 4th. 1970, 1971, and 1975. And now, 1980. Here's how he won it, as we see him coming to the fence that was his undoing last year in 1980 with Julian Wilson.
Well, whether or not he was unlucky last year, this time Tommy Carberry wasn't going to make any mistake at all. And this time he's come to the last on the bit. Last time he was neck and neck with Alverton, and he's seen his stride beautifully, 1, 2, and jumped it perfectly. Even then he's nodded as he lands, but Tommy can afford himself a look over his right shoulder to see a non-existent danger, because approaching, who's in 2nd place there, he'd played all his cards early on, just when they started coming down the hill. Master Smudge is running on from a long way back. McVitie, who flattered in the final turn, well, the old horse, he's run the race of his life at the age of 15, but he's not going to produce anymore. And Tommy Carberry, this great Irish Gold Cup rider, he can afford his mount a pat down the neck as he passes the post absolutely unchallenged. Master Smudge runs on from a long way back to finish 2nd, and a very tired horse, McVitie, finishes 3rd.
But what a performance by McVitie all the same. 15 years old. 13-2, the gallant winner here, Tide Cottage, a 12-year-old himself. And Tommy Carberry, a long way short of being in the first blush of youth. A former champion apprentice in Ireland. What a rider. What magnificent compensation for him to win the Gold Cup this afternoon by 8 lengths and 5 after that heartbreaking crash last year. A fall from which John Joe O'Neill profited to win on Alberton. This afternoon, John Joe, a faller at the top of the hill on Jack of Trumps. At the previous fence border incident had gone, and let me quickly tell you that I saw both horses rise, and I haven't seen any sign of any horses injured. And John Joe O'Neill and John Frankham, they were certainly all right. Jacko traveling very well at the point where he went. So Tommy enters calculations as a very live contender for the Ritz Trophy, as the leading rider of the meeting. This is his second winner. Got to fight his way through a really enthusiastic crowd here to get into that coveted area, the winner's circle, at the Cheltenham National Hunt Festival. 12-year-old Tide Cottage and Tommy Carberry have beaten the second biggest field ever to line up for the Cheltenham Gold Cup, in this the 53rd running of Steeplechasing's Classic. Mrs. Dan Moore, that was, of course, leading Tide Cottage in. She's been supervising all the team's work. And now it depends on Mighty's honor in the next, whether Tommy can win the Ritz title. Probably the biggest crowd ever gathered at Cheltenham, giving this horse the most tremendous acclaim. That's Stanley Robinson, his owner, who knows his horse a great deal better than most owners know their animals. There is this winner, and here are the starting prices.
First, Tide Cottage, 13-2. Second, Master Smudge, 14-1. Third, Mac Beady, 66-1. The jackpot number of the winner, 320.
You're picking up these right at the last minute.
Flower Racing having reached it to the age of 8, but Monksfield still enjoys life and racing. Well, they're coming under orders. A good time to join Peter O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Richard, and they're running, and Pollardstown jumps off from Monksfield and Raimondo. But nobody anxious to make it, going a very, very steady pace in the early stages. Pollardstown and Monksfield and Raimondo. Monksfield trying to increase his winnings beyond 130,000, which he's earned in win and place money so far. At the first, Pollardstown, Monksfield and Raimondo. Pollardstown and Philip Blacker just looking over his right shoulder to see where John Joe is on Monksfield. Raimondo just behind these two as they come down to the second. Bookmakers asking for odds of 2-1 still. 2-1 on Monksfield, that's to say. Trying to win this race for the 4th time in succession. It's including a memorable dead heat with another former champion, Night Nurse. Monksfield, the dual champion, of course, in 78 and 79. As a 4-year-old, he was second in the Daily Express Triumph Hurdle, whereas Pollardstown won the Daily Express Triumph in 1979. It's Pollardstown from Monksfield and Raimondo. Raimondo, who ran here on Thursday when he was third. In third place now. Quite a long run to the first flight in the straight on the first circuit. Pollardstown, Blinkett for the first time. And Monksfield ridden for the first time in public by John Joe O'Neill. Saw him ride him up here, get to know him for the first time yesterday morning. And Monkey doesn't care for this heavy ground at all, and I don't think John Joe was immensely impressed with him. But of course, he's a very useful horse in action, but much more useful when he's getting bounce out of the ground. Pollard's turn from Monksfield and Raimondo. This will be the last flight on the next circuit. It's 2 mile, 5.5 furlongs in all. Pollard's turn, Monksfield, Raimondo. From this point, they've got a furlong to run to the winning post on the first circuit. You probably saw that furlong marker just on the near side of the chair fence. The chair, which of course is number 15 in the National and one of the most hazardous obstacles. Jumped only once. So Pollard's Town by 3 lengths or so from Monksfield. Monksfield looking as though he's labouring a little in the ground. Raimondo third. So back to the point from which they started, a complete circuit now. Pollard's Town, Monksfield and Raimondo. Pollard's Town's possibly quickened a little down the back stretch. Monkey about 4 or 5 lengths off him now. Philip Blacker got a very good jump out of Pollard's Town then. 2 Pollard's Town being offered in the ring at this point. Pollard's Town at the next. Clear of Monksfield and Raimondo. Now coming to the final flight right over on the far side, then it'll be a very long run to the third from home. Pollard's Town, once again, Philip Blacker gets a very good jump out of him, and looks as though he's really going to try and stretch Monkey from here. He's probably conscious of the fact, well, he's not probably, but certainly conscious of the fact that Monksfield doesn't relish heavy ground, and he's hoping to get him struggling now from this point. Pollard's Town by about 6 lengths from Monksfield and Raimondo. Raimondo 2.5 lengths off, 3 lengths off Monksfield, and Monksfield closing that gap a bit now. John Joe chasing him along with hands and heels, this little 1978 and 79 champion, but Pollard's Town with the distinct advantage still as they race now towards the third last. And see the way Monkey's just carrying his head a little bit on one side. He does not like this ground. He cannot get the bounce out of it that he really enjoys. So they come to the third last, and a good jump by Pollard's Town. And Pollard's Town certainly has Monkey really on the stretch now. Pollard's Town coming down to the second last with a clear advantage. Monksfield about 4 lengths in arrears now, and this is the final flight in this Sun Temple Gate hurdle. Pollard's Town with a decisive advantage over the former champion. And Pollard's Town's nearly gone there, but a brilliant recovery there by Philip Blacker, and Philip keeping him going. And John Joe chasing Monkey along, but he's still not making a lot of impression. They're well inside the final furlong, and it's Pollard's Town, the winner of the 1979 Daily Express Triumph hurdle from Monksfield, and he's going to beat him as they come up towards the line. Monksfield's first defeat in the Sun Temple Gate, and at the line, Pollard's Town is the winner. Monksfield is second, and a long way back in third, just coming up to the line, but qualifying for a very handsome third prize of £1,198, no less, is Raimondo. And so the official result of the Sun Temple Gate hurdle, first number 8 Pollard's Town, owned by Mrs. W. Tulloch and Mr. R.S. Formby, trained by Stan Meller and ridden by Philip Blacker. Second was number 3 Monksfield, owned by Dr. Michael Mangan, trained by Des McDonough and ridden by John Joe O'Neill. And third was number 9 Raimondo, owned by Mr. John Craig, trained by Ted Carter and ridden by Alan Brown. And Pollard's Town getting an immediate 5-to-1 quote for the next year's champion hurdle from Corals. And here's how he won it. There's Philip Blacker, and here's how he won it as we review the race with Julian Wilson.
Well, up until this last flight of hurdles, Pollard's Town jumped probably as well as he's ever done over hurdles. But here he did exactly what he did at Wincanton. Philip Blacker asked him to pick up. He didn't. He went right through the hurdle, but luckily he landed running, balanced, and Philip Blacker, who'd gone completely the wrong direction, was able to get him together again and go on a win. Monksfield, I'm afraid, he doesn't show his best form on this sort of ground. He was always off the bit from the time that Philip Blacker let his mount go, almost a circuit to go. He was struggling from then on. He was never going to close the gap, and although he went on trying, courage just wasn't enough here. Pollardstown back to his best here and running on bravely, although tiredly under strong driving. But Monksfield, well, this wasn't the horse that we've seen in the past here at Liverpool. But then, when have we ever seen going like this at Liverpool?
The past 12 years has won
No
the
draw,
Welsh
of course.
version.
They're
So
sorting
Sea Pigeon
themselves
here,
out.
the current champion, looks to
Frolic
join
right
them
on the
today.
inside.
Number 1 looking in fine fettle. In fact, he's the odds-on favourite, 11 to 8 on, and Sea Pigeon, one of 5 runners in the race. In fact, number 3, Bird's Nest, doesn't go, as I told you, so 5 do, named by Peter O'Sullivan.
1 is Sea Pigeon, John Joe O'Neill. 2, Pollardstown, Philip Blacker. 4, Connaught Ranger, John Burke. 5, Johnny Tarquin, Mrs. Nicky Ledger. 6, Royal Boxer, Richard Lindy. And on our way to join the man who rode the 1975 winner, Richard Pittman, here's how they're betting.
Odds on the favourite. Sea Pigeon 8 to 11. Pollardstown is 2 to 1. And Connaught Ranger 5 to 1. Royal Boxer 12 to 1. And Johnny Tarquin 50 to 1.
And this is the one we've been waiting for. He's the horse that's drawn the crowds here today, and trained by Peter Easterby, who's won the race with Night Nurse in 76 and 77, both times ridden by Paddy Broderick. Well, Sea Pigeon, he's come good at last in the Champion Hurdle. He's always been thereabouts, been second twice to Monksfield in 77, 78, and now he's, rather 78, 79, now he's the winner. Well, what a great performance that was. He came through at Cheltenham very easily on the bridle and went away to win by 7 lengths. He had Pollardstown behind him, Connaught Ranger, Royal Boxer behind him. And different cup of tea today, the ground faster, totally different track. But remember that Sea Pigeon likes better ground than he had it at Cheltenham, so it's equally in his favour as it is in Pollardstown. Great performer. He's won £76,000 over jumps, as well as a considerable amount on the flat. What a good walker he is. We've seen quite a few good walkers during the year, but this is probably one of the best. He absolutely flips his toe out and certainly make a dressage horse if he wasn't such a good racehorse. So valuable. And this fellow will be going for the Chester Cup on the flat, a race he's already won twice, and then be aimed at a couple of amateur hurdle races on the flat where Pat Muldoon's son Stephen will have the leg up. Marvellous horse ridden by John Joe O'Neill, and John Joe, who desperately hoped to have broken his duck here earlier in the day, unfortunately hasn't done, but this would be a good one to do it on. Enormous crowd here at Chepstow. There are a lot of people also in the middle. We're looking from the silver ring enclosure way down away from the grandstand, the main grandstands. I can assure you members and Tattersalls are very thickly populated indeed today.
Pollardstown 2 to 1 against. Connaught Ranger 5 to 1. Royal Boxer 12 to 1. And Johnny Tarquin is the outsider 50 to 1. Results.
With the sheepskin breast girth, and his owner and trainer Peter Easterby and Pat Muldoon have just won the Northern Free Handicap with Bonall, so they're not here today to see that. They obviously went to cheer their other runner. Well, good time now with Royal Boxer 10 to 1 from 12s to join Peter O'Sullivan to take you through the race.
Thank you, Richard. Pollardstown walking in, a little ahead of the others. And they're away. Pollardstown jumps off in the lead from Connaught Ranger, Royal Boxer, Johnny Tarquin and Sea Pigeon as they come to the first. In the Welsh Champion Hurdle, Pollardstown, the recent Aintree winner, jumps the first from Royal Boxer and Connaught Ranger, Sea Pigeon, the champion, and Johnny Tarquin. We're passing the winning post on the first circuit. It's Pollardstown from Royal Boxer and Connaught Ranger and Sea Pigeon and Johnny Tarquin. Going quite a good clip. This is the race that's brought really large crowds here, large. Then Connaught Ranger, tracked by Sea Pigeon then Johnny Tarquin, with handsome prizes for the first 4. Pollard's Town, Royal Boxer, Connaught Ranger, Sea Pigeon and Johnny Tarquin.